All right, man, we rolling up in the building. Oh, man, we gotta get them out. All right, man. Shoot, let me read this out. There you go. Oh, wow. Oh, y'all. All right, y'all can hear me. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? All right, we're in the building. Let me see. All right. We let the people come in the building, man. We almost there, and it's all good. Black African power, everybody in the building, man. Go and let the pile up a little bit, man, so we can get started, get right into it. If y'all can hear me, man, hit one in that chat. Hit that one. Hit that one. Flying through. Glad everybody came through, man. Waiting for everybody to jump in, man. Get the building piled up. Get some real crispy information going in. Y'all know how we do it around here. Quick and easy. Easy and quick. Hit that one if you can hear me. If you can hear me. See where we at. I don't see that one in there. All right, so y'all can hear me.
see what the numbers looking like, man, so we can get up in this thing real quick, man. Get it going. Get it in early. 5:25, man. Maybe y'all can enjoy some of the content flowing home from work, right? Here's a little schedule here going. You know, try to go right after my man Garfield go. So we can bring the audience over, man. We're going to work in tandem with each other, man. We're going to have to. Just going to have to, man. A lot of crabs out here, man. And, you know, we just got to stick with the people. Real solid, man. Man, yeah, y'all should be able to hear me. I'm thinking I'm hoping the 1 million you can hear me. That's what I said. You can hear me hit that one. All right. All right. So yeah, man, we sit back, enjoying all the information flowing, realizing that we just got a whole lot of to go, man. So people style information will have to really vibe together, man. Breaking up bad, man. So y'all, I'm breaking. I shouldn't be breaking up bad now. I don't think I am. Might have switched over to man. This is crazy right here. 1 second. Oh man, y'all should be able to hear me, man. You know, I was in a car and the system switched over. Didn't wanted to switch over because it was good how it was. So we know how to get this. All right. Now I know y'all should be able to hit me now. We're gonna get that straight in 1 moment. 5 more. We're gonna get everything going popping in 1 minute. All right, should be good. That one more time. Anyway, we're gonna have a powerful, informative show. You know, any of y'all that know me know I try to put in a little reading time, man. I learned that just a little bit every day, kind of it maximizes the potential to learn and understand. So you don't have to read a whole book in a day. Just a little, you can read a piece of it. You know, you can read a chapter, maybe a half a chapter on the subjects that we talking about. Some real good books. And, you know, if you're reading a half a chapter in the morning and another half a chapter at night, or maybe just a half a chapter a day or something like that, by the time you get to the end of the week, man, you got a couple chapters under your belt. And reason it kind of takes me so long because I like to look up the information and go back and source. And then if I get to a position where it's something that I'm reading that I don't understand, I looked it up, I'll find a college level YouTube video on it. That sounds funny. A high level YouTube, no, like a college professor actually teaching on the subject. And that's how I know, that's how I get down. So like I said, if I could do it, everybody can do it. And it shouldn't be that, it ain't that hard, man. So never let a person trick you. Be part of the learning process. That's really, really essential. Yeah, it's essential that we part of the learning process, man. Because there's a lot of stuff out here. There's a lot of trick'emship out here, man, and that's what's going down. Straight trick'emship. Wholeheartedly, 100%, sounding good, looking good, but fugazi. Yeah, man. There's a couple more people come in the room, man, and we're gonna get this thing started, man. Get in and get out. Get in and get out. Man, this is what we don't need, man. We don't need to get here right there, man. Come on, man. Oh, man. 1 second. You know, I'm in between doing all kinds of daddy duties, yo. Y'all got to excuse me, man. 1 second. All right. So let me see where we at. See if we at the spot where we want to be at. All right, we got 75 minutes. Hey, we got 90. We almost at that 100, man. Somebody gonna ask me how many. I don't have no kids. I got teenagers. Teenagers. I got teenagers. I got twins. Two male twins, 2 sons, 3 sons, 2 of them are twins, and 2 daughters. And 2 mother of my children. Two mothers. That's what I got. Come on. 1 second. Give me 1 second. We can get this going. All right, I'm live on the show. I had to get my son talking that basketball talk. Yeah, your hands gotta be strong, little man. You feel me? That's why I give you the little thing. I always give you tools you're gonna need before you get into the situation. That's what good parents do. Right? It's too late after you in the damn situation. All right, man. So we close to 100 yet? All right. I'm almost in the building. I don't know where the rest of the pseudo killers is, man. I know Brendan said he on his way. Right? I got some good quotes I want to read for my morning read. Right? I want to kind of wait. Then I want to open up the panel early, right? So we can see what y'all think. And yeah, we have actually gotten away from talking about the cosmos, which is important. But there's some literary, not say literary. There's some, our literacy level has to be at a level, and because we want to always be able to have conversations with our family members, and we don't want to confuse them. So, basically, I think the first message is when you start to talk to people about this thing of ours. And let me see. You admit. Hold on. What's going on, Anthony? You got Mr. Anthony Bowman in the building. Wait. How you doing, brother?
What's happening? You all right?
Yeah, man. We're here live, man. I was just picking up my son. You ready to get into it, man. I know, man, you had a great conversation through my frustration with my telescope. Wow. It was a wild one. And I was like, what? The what move? So I went flat earth. Ladies and gentlemen, I definitely went flat earth. And see, we all can do it. Because like we say, science is actually counterintuitive. So you never realize the earth is moving to when you're put in a position and when it moved, you be like, did it move? Yeah, so that's the position I was in. I was outside my telescope. My son went in the house, and I'm trying to do this thing that Anthony always do with the telescope, focus in, use it right. I did, and I finally caught a daggone star or planet, or what the hell I caught. And I got it in my sights. I'm like, yeah, I got it, because I was hyped up. By the time I left to go get my son and come back, it wasn't there. So it was like I lied to my son. I'm like, well, I did have it. Anthony said, dude, you know everything is moving, right? I was like, huh? So I had the mentality of a person that was on a flat earth. So yeah, the star, it moved. Crazy, Anthony, right? So we talk all the science, but when it's in real time and things move, you forget that things really move. Crazy. So that's why I was at, ladies and gentlemen.
It's really hard to tell, if you're not, well, if you're paying attention to the sky, you can see, at 8 o'clock at night, you come out and look, you see something real bright, and then you come back at 11 o'clock and it's not there anymore. It's because everything is moving. I mean, you got the earth rotating 24 hours in a day, and then at the same time, it's orbiting the sun 365 days make a year. So without a certain type of amount, you're not going to be able to look at an object for long without having to readjust, because it's moving and you're moving, but you can actually experience that with a telescope. Because like you say, it didn't take long either. It'll stay in your eyepiece maybe about 2 or 3 minutes. And the whole time you'll see it through your eyepiece, moving across your eyepiece. You'll see it moving if you look at it long enough. Just sit there and stare at it once you find something. And that's with everything up there moving. The moon, all the planets. I mean, the planets are orbiting the sun as well. So, everything moving. And it's pretty evident when you got a telescope, because you can actually, with the telescope, it's with the eyepiece, you know, it magnifies what you're looking at. So when you got a smaller millimeter eyepiece, the faster the object is gonna move or appear to be moving, because you're closer. It's like you're closer to it, you know, with the telescope for, you know, visually. So with a wider field of view, the slower the movement will be. But the closer you get in on that object, the faster it's gonna appear to be moving. So the speeds of it change, but that's only because of your, I guess you can say, your observation angle, or what you're using to actually observe the object with. But it's all moving, even Andromeda. Andromeda rises in the northeast and it moves across the northern sky and sets in the northwest, you know, and the planets pretty much rise in the east, set in the west. And you have other stars and objects that rise in the southeast and set in the southwest. But everything is coming up on the eastern side and setting on the west. And it does it over a course of time. So, yeah, everything moving.
Everything moving. So we got a good question here. You know, we've had this discussion before. We had it live. As our audience builds, I go back to science is counterintuitive. And so, you know, for a long time, man actually thought that the sun went around the earth because we was earth centric. All right. Meaning for people living on earth, everything is about earth. All right. And so, you know, the church and everybody actually was like, yeah, that's what it is. And then you get strong. What's the name of the astronomer? Yo, to say it different. Mr. Anthony. He said that
first was it Copernicus?
and another one. Who they kept on house arrest? Galileo. So remember, Galileo was talking about that. They put him. That's why you can't trust the church. The church actually finance science, and then when you come up with something that's counter to what they Bible saying, they put you on house arrest. Got Brendan in the building.
What's going on, fellas? What's happening? All right, pseudo killers on deck.
Yeah, we got a full house too, man.
All right.
What's happening, Brandon? You doing
all
right?
What's going on, Anthony? I'm just getting situated here. Make sure, get me some volume in my headset here.
Yeah, we both getting situated.
Yeah.
So we can get this on, but I got this question for Anthony. We talk about Galileo, who was put on house arrest for talking about the earth going around the sun. All right. So I want to throw a curveball in there. We've talked about this before. Hold on. I think I can switch over now because I'm at the spot. Hold on. I kind of switch over now and ask that question. And hold on a second.
Here we go.
They get in here. And you know, we had a good, hearty debate on that. Let me get out. All right. Let me get out of here. Boom.
All right. I see the chat filling up. Peace, Omar. All right. Peace to our mods. Peace, Miss Tiff. All right. Fitz in the house. Okay. Vasa. We got most of our normals, our regulars coming in. James, Airplane James, what's up, bro? All right, sure. And you know what was one of the interesting things, Ankh, I caught you over on, I think it was Sonetta's channel last night, and you guys were having somewhat a flat earth conversation, young earth conversation as well. Right. Debating, I guess, with one of the sisters, and her position was that she believed in the young earth theory, right, which postulates that the earth is around 6,000 years old, right? We know where that comes from. That comes from the biblical narrative, of course, right? And one of the brothers asked a very interesting question on when he jumped on the panel. He asked, how do you guys know, right, that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old? Right? How do you guys know? I said, I know you guys read this or you saw it online or you did through your research, but how do you know it, right? And one of the interesting things, and actually we were talking about this, we were reviewing some information in our back chat, is through, well, I guess, you know, you would consider it radiocarbon dating, right? That whole process, right? We're very, very familiar with that, right? And it's a synonym for that called radiometric dating. And it's a very interesting mineral, right, that we can observe. And this is just, or, you know, just some information for everybody that's sort of listening in. If you ever get this, you're talking to somebody that believes in the young earth theory, always think about this, right? There's a mineral on the earth that's called zircon, right? That we actually can use, right, for under analysis to determine, right, the age of the earth, right? Now, one of the difficulties of judging the age of the earth, right, through using minerals and rocks and things like that, is that the earth is constantly recycling its crust, right? We have these plate tectonic shifts, you know, we have the weathering of the earth, all these things are constantly cycling, making changes, right? But one of the interesting things about this particular mineral that I learned, right, zircon, they call it the indestructible material, the indestructible mineral, right? Not that you can't destroy it, right? If you take a hammer and you bash a piece of zircon, of course it'll shatter. It's very brittle, right? But one of its physical characteristics is that it is very resilient to the weathering, the natural weathering that occurs on the earth, right? So when they can actually go, these scientists, these geological scientists can go to Australia and actually analyze these pieces of zircon, these very, very ancient pieces of zircon, right? And the thing that's interesting about it, right, if they take it, right, and they slice the zircon in very, very minuscule pieces, right, almost hair-like pieces, to put those pieces under microscopic analysis, right? And one of the interesting things about zircon is that it has birth rings like a tree, right? So just like if you slice a tree, you cut down a tree, you can actually take a look at the birth rings of the tree, right? You can actually take a look, scientists look at the birth rings of the zircon, right? To not only analyze the overall age of the piece of mineral, right? They could actually take a look and see, they can understand what were some of the geological characteristics of the earth during those ancient times, right? That's one way that they use zircon. Another interesting fact about zircon is that it has somewhat of an internal clock inside of the zircon, right? Which is uranium, right? Uranium, any of our chemistry nuts, right? We know that uranium has a half-life of 4.5 billion years old, right? And so it starts to sound a little interesting and familiar here. Right? Unlike carbon, right, which isn't very useful in terms of determining the age of the earth. I think carbon has a half-life of about 6,000 years or so, right? With this uranium acting as an internal clock of that 4.5 billion year half-life, right? They could actually do analysis on the rate of decay internally on those ancient pieces of zircon, right? To determine the age of the earth. And some of the oldest pieces of zircon, right, in terms of that internal clock, that uranium decay, they've actually calculated, I think they've found some pieces that were 4.3 billion years old, right? Now there is like an adjustment to get to 4.5. They use, I think, around 200,000 years. What they do, they say, okay, well, we know that the earth took some time in terms of the early sort of how it catalyzed, right? How you know, the cooling of the earth, all these different things. So those dates, those early few 100,000 years were taken into account. But that 4.3 billion year age of the zircon, that's how scientists can understand the true age of the earth. And that's just a high level sort of science factoid that we can use in terms of when we start debating people about this young earth theory.
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite scientists, Clair Patterson, right? And Clair Patterson was actually featured in the Cosmos, and Neil deGrasse talked about that. It was great. But let's see what we got in the chat here real quick. We had that magic number. We passed that. We had 117 people in the building, man. So, man, I'm appreciating everybody coming through. And there was a question I was going to ask Anthony. But before we do that, man, you know how we do it, man. Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee. Man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's the pseudo killers on deck. And we come to do what we got to do, and we're going to do what we got to do. We standing tall, we standing strong. Pseudo killers on deck. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, man? What to do? What to do? What to do? Pseudo killer official, man. What's good with you, bro?
Peace to you, my brother. Peace to you, brother Brandon. Everybody in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. And like I always say, when you're scientifically literate, they can't drag you down to their level and beat you up with experience. So let's get it.
That's a good one. I like that.
I know I can't even. Man, come on, man. You can't get me like that, yo. Not in the middle of the show. Hey, what's going on, Brendan, man? Pseudo killer official, man. What it do? What it do? What it do?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, Anthony? Peace to all the pseudo killers. Peace to the chat, mods. Right. Thank you for the support. Thanks for tuning in. All right, dude. Just coming back from the holiday, man. Really enjoyed some time with the family. Like I said, I had my sister-in-laws in town. We had some of the family here. We had a great time. Of course, right. We ate all day on Thursday. Had fun at the casino on Friday. We got them on the road back safe on Saturday. So can't complain at all. And, besides today, getting back to work, I got a ton of email I'm kind of swamped under, but hey, can't complain, brother. We said we're in the holiday season. So, it is what it is, right? Peace. Hope I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, we right here, man. We right here. So I wanted to ask Anthony. So Anthony, and we was talking about Copernicus, and we was talking about, man, why I keep forgetting his name, man? What's the guy that kept my house arrest? Galileo. Damn, boy, I need to stop that. Man, that water getting strong, ain't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Galileo. So he talked about, at that point, they was talking about the sun going around the earth, right? And he introduces the heliocentric model where the earth actually goes around the sun. So yeah, we were doing some research and talking. So I'm gonna ask you, Anthony, and this was fun. We talked about this on the previous show. So actually, does the sun go around the earth? Explain that.
Yeah, it does. But it's actually a point of the center of gravity between the earth and the sun. See, the sun takes up about, I want to say it's about 95% of the mass of the solar system. And it has a gravitational effect on everything in the solar system. Well, those objects also have a gravitational effect on the sun. Now, because the sun is so massive and so large, that center point of gravity it doesn't make it past the surface of the sun, but it's still making an orbit. And it's very, very small, but in the big picture, yeah, they're both orbiting each other.
And that's the answer. And that's the counterintuitive answer, right? That's interesting. So yes, it's gravity, and everything is affected by gravity. So even the earth has an effect on the gravitational pull of the sun, but it's very, 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 very tiny. Very, very, very small. And we know that the sun has a hell of a gravitational pull. We're actually in the sun. We're in the sun bubble. Okay, that's what they say. And like Vance say, yeah, but they sent the probe for the first time in the history of humanity, and they sent man has went interstellar, right? And when we say interstellar, we mean in between the stars, meaning they've left the space bubble. Now, for me, that's mind-boggling That's incredible to me. It's a Voyager, I believe, right? When Vance told me, I was like, wait, he said, yeah, OG, the Voyager is outside of the sun boat. And I was like, what? It's crazy to me. Wow, that man just went that far with that. I mean, incredible, right? And that thing you standing in front of right there is god daggone incredible too, bro. That telescope, that's serious right there. You ain't playing with it. You dead serious with that. So we armed and dangerous with the tools. That's deep. But interstellar, the gravitational pulls and all that. This is important for you to defeat pseudoisms. So
right. And you mentioned gravity last night as well. I think you guys had some conversations about gravity. And the brother was asking, well, how do you know gravity is real? And you basically gave him the most rudimentary experiments. Like, you would just stand up on your bed and fall backwards and see what happens to your body, right? So which is that very intuitive explanation, right? We all know intuitively what gravity does, right? We experience it every day. But there's some other scientific things regarding gravity that we know that how we know it exists as well, right? So with this whole idea in terms of special relativity, right, and the GPS clocks that actually take that give us accurate location information, right? We know that gravity is real, right, due to the effects of special relativity as well, right? And when you're talking about the movement of those GPS clocks, because we know based on special relativity, the faster an object moves, right, the slower the clock, right, relative to the motion of that object, right? But one of the other interesting things regarding special relativity is that gravity has an impact on time as well, and right, in terms of how gravity accelerates objects, right? We're all under the acceleration effect of gravity right now, right? Not accelerating in terms of you getting in the car and putting your foot on the gas. That's not the type of acceleration that we're talking about, right? Even though it's sort of similar, but in terms of the acceleration is that force, right, that gravity actually places on you. And one of the interesting things about that accelerating force of gravity, right, is that objects closer to the Earth, right, those clocks tick at different rates as opposed to objects that are higher up, right? And scientists, we've got clocks that are so precise, right, down to the point that you could actually put a clock on the floor and then take another clock, raise it by 10 feet, right? And the clocks between those two high precision time clocks that scientists use, those times are different based on the acceleration of gravity. Those are some of the empirical tests, empirical observation through test and observation, how we know that gravity is real. I think that was sort of a really interesting and sort of a fascinating effect of gravity, right? Like, for instance, you take a clock and put it on the surface of Jupiter, right? Because its gravity is so enormous and larger than ours, right? The clock on Jupiter, right, will tick at a different rate than the clock that sits on the surface of the Earth, right? All due to that accelerating effect of gravity.
Off the chain right there. Hey, we got a pseudo killer official just popped on, man. What's going on, Malcolm? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fairly well, man. How everybody doing?
Hey, good to see you around there, brother. You know what it
Good,
is.
Good, man.
Killer
happy
official.
to finally join the panel. I've been in and out of school, working, volunteering, but I be listening.
I know you
So
do.
if I-
Right there in the game.
Peace, Malcolm, peace.
If I get quiet for a little bit, it's because I'm taking a test, man. I'm finishing up this first semester on this bachelor's degree for nursing. So trying to get that BS in and later move on further, probably master's and possibly PhD. So we'll see. We'll see how things going, man. I'm always listening, bros, and I hope that I contribute to the conversation.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you, bro, all the time, man. Somebody say Black Telek says, bro, are you serious? You think gravity affects the clock? Laugh out loud.
Science is counterintuitive.
It's counterintuitive,
science
dog.
is, and you know what? Here's some suggested listening for you, right? If you're interested in these types of topics, I'll go ahead and I'll put the link to it in the chat. And there's an audio book that you can get on Audible that is very good. Let me take a look at title, the name. It says The Evidence for Modern Physics, right? The Evidence for Modern Physics does a really, really great job of giving you detailed, well, I wouldn't say detailed, it's at the layman's level, so you can kind of understand it. It gives you explanations for a lot of the different physical phenomena that we see on the, throughout the universe, right? And it does a great job explaining these things. It does a great job explaining, like, for instance, how do we know the speed of light, right? How do we really know that, right? It talks about gravity. It talks about, let's see some of the topics on this particular book here, because again, it's actually one of my favorites in terms of just freshening up on information, right? And kind of and checking yourself. Do you really understand some of these scientific concepts here? So let me see. Let's see if I can pull it up without. I'm going to put myself on mute. You guys go ahead, and then I want to read off a couple of the chapters in the Evidence for Modern Physics in a second. Hold on.
Okay, so all right, while we're there, trying to find the book. I believe it's called The Magic of Reality. Yes, absolutely. Okay, The Magic of Reality. I want to come to the chapter. Let me see. Hold on. I want to see what chapter is in. Oh man, I ain't got the chapters in here. Shoot. So around here we live or die by the damn sources. We're never going to say something that's not sourced up by experts. So I'm talking about Clair Patterson and all that. And Brendan talked about he was actually talking about radioactive molecules is what he was talking about. And he was talking about that they actually decay at a constant rate, right? On Sunday the show, I said 4.2. I was corrected. It's actually the half-life of uranium-238 that decays to lead 206. The half-life is really 4.5 billion years. I said 4.2 is 4.5. God damn it. Damn it. Brendan.
Hey, I tell you, you're close. We try to stay as close as possible to the science, but you were right on it, brother. You were right on top of it.
But I was wrong.
I tell you,
because the half-life is actually 4.5 billion years. And I talked about Clair Patterson a little bit, and I want to read a little bit about Clair Patterson. But my source for these radioactive molecules, because that's what we're talking about, right, is actually The Magic of Reality by Dawkins. Have a lovely chapter on that. And the reason I love Dawkins' work is because he breaks the shit down real simple for you. Crazy, right? And so if y'all go back and listen to Sarnetta's show, right, I knew that the brother wouldn't understand a decay rate of igneous rocks. So igneous rocks actually are melting lava, and when they harden, the clock starts, right? The radioactive, the uranium starts to decay at a constant rate now, right? All right. And so all they got to do is measure the amount of lead, right? And then they know when the clock started, right? So every time those rocks heat up, liquefy, and then get solid again, right? That boom, that rate of decay starts. So remember that. Right? This is how they date a lot of stuff. This is how they actually came to get the approximate date of, of the Earth. All right. But Dawkins in his book, The Magic of Reality, right? All right. The whole chapter talk about that. It's serious. And so on Sunday the show, although I mentioned the radioactive molecules and uranium-238 and lead-206, I know nobody's gonna understand, right? I gave it a simple example of a candle, right?
And Graybeard in the chat, he just corrected us. He said molecules are isotopes. Brother, you are correct. They are the radioactive isotopes, right? So cool. Our chat is on point. I tell you, our chat is on point.
What the hell I'm talking about? Okay, we good. Yeah, we want to get it right. Okay, but I apologize for that. But the point I was making is, which you just made me forget my damn point.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Did I even have a point? I had a point about Sinclair. I was talking about the candles. I was trying to give you an example.
Right.
Something we won't mess up. We won't mess up the candle, goddamn. I bet y'all don't mess up the candle. How much y'all want to make? How much y'all want that?
Hey, I messed up the date of the Holocene the other night. I was like, is that around 6,000? It was like, Brittany was like, shut up, Brittany, 10,000, right? It's like,
Oh man. Oh, okay. We got Brother Sosa on there. What's going on, Brother Sosa? Pseudo Kill Official. Yeah, you know, you've been beckoned. How you doing, brother? What's good? Pseudo Kill Official.
What's good? What's good? I heard the end of it. I know you were talking to me or not. I just came in. What's good though?
How you doing, brother?
Sosa, peace.
Peace, Sosa.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I mean, welcome back. I ain't never left. Like,
You ain't never left.
No, welcome back. Like, what happened?
Right.
Peace to you, Sophie.
Peace. Like, I like the McRib. You feel me?
Yeah.
Right. I ain't went nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Coming back. You feel
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate your work, man. Appreciate your level, right? And what you do, man. And like I said, all the brothers, we're here to help each other, brothers and sisters, man. And our approach to give proper signs, right? And so I talked about the candle, and I bet y'all won't mess up the candle. So this is what humans did. They took the damn candle, man, and they started at the beginning of the day, and they lit it, and they let it burn, right? And if the candle itself lasted to when it got dark, then they realized, hey, man, we can figure out what a half a day is. Just so when the candle was halfway burnt, that's a half a day. Same with that uranium, right? 238. See that half-life? So now, if you know the day, then you can break the half a day, right? With that candle. And they also did it with water in like a bucket, right? And they would let it drip out, right? And they would measure how long it would take, right, for it to drip out in a day. The same process, right? So something very simple, okay, to something that's simple to scientists, but might be complicated if you don't know what the radioactive isotopes is. What did he say about the radioactive isotopes? Brendan, you muted. I can't hear you. He was on the phone. I can't see the chat. Anyway, so let me read about Sinclair real fast.
No, he was just saying in terms of the terminology we were using. I think we were using the term molecule in regards to the uranium, but you know, it was radioactive isotopes was a more appropriate term for it.
I don't think he's gonna get past Dawkins on that. I'm gonna let you have it though. Don't make me pull out the book and read it. Maybe it was radioactive atoms, or it was radioactive atoms. Maybe that's even better.
Okay.
But what is that atom made up? Let me stop.
Right.
Nah.
Where's unbiased when you need him? He's our chemistry expert, right?
Over there messing up somewhere. Okay, let me read this. This particular now you can look at the episode. I want y'all to go to the episode 7, right, of Cosmos, and it's called the Clean Room. Okay, let me show y'all this. Right, I'm just showing you how I learn, man. You just get some real basic. Don't try to go super duper. Don't try to read everything Sosa reading and Brendan reading. They can get you with that. Yeah, don't even do that. They're gonna, you really got to be really wanting to do it. Do like I do. I can go look at this. See, here you go. You can look at the episode of the Cosmos. Look. All right, get that. Put that into your folder. Right? Learned a lot from this episode. Okay? Coupled it with the magic of reality. Those two items, right? I have you locked in, right? With the radioactive atoms, right? I said molecules. I'm gonna go listen to that chapter again before I get off the show. And how the water and the candles, but right here, the Clean Room is the 7th episode of American documentary television series, The Cosmos. It goes on to say, it premiered, I don't want to read that, boom, boom. It say the episode explores the methods and processes used to measure the age of the Earth, right? So yeah, your kids, you'll get your kids, let them sit down, right? Y'all all watch it together. Excellent family show. They're gonna be looking at the TV like this. Stop. That's how serious it is. It said the episode also plays tribute to geologist Clair Patterson, okay? Richard Jean, in his quest to remove what is this? The neurotoxin lead from gasoline. All right, neurotoxin. I'm saying that right. From the gasoline, it says the episode title alludes to Patterson attempts to sterilize his lab after realizing that the inconsistent results in his experiments were due to lead contamination. This is important right here, right? So the byproduct that they was using and to stretch the gasoline, it's a word, isn't it? Acotron or something. I can't quite think of what that name was. Y'all can go to the episode, right? But it's his results, right? When he was measuring the lead in the atmosphere, right? Was messed up. So he tried to make a space where the outside environment would not contaminate his experiment, right? So in his attempt, he actually produced one of the first clean rooms, and that's dope. Okay, but he still couldn't get his results right. And what he realized was right here, right, that the gas they was using, this lead, the neurotoxin lead, right, that was in his gasoline, you know what I'm saying, was actually polluting planet Earth. And it took this man 20 years for people to even believe him, because remember, he was funded. And people always talking about funding. Yes, he was funded by the oil companies. So the damn oil company sure as hell ain't going to agree. Well, hey, what you talking about, man? This gas is contaminating the Earth? No, sir, buddy. So he lost all that funding, right? Even though he was an expert, he lost that funding. The gas companies had other scientists, right, to bog him down with the argument back and forth. So this debate went on for 15 years maybe, right? And it came up again in Congress. And they said, well, hey, man, let's call on Clair Patterson, right? Again. And so he came and he gave his information, he gave his results, and they accepted it. And so, you know, when I was growing up, when I was young, when I was about 7, right, or 8, I remember going to the gas stations and you could get all the gas was lead. It was leaded gas. Now, when y'all go get some gas, you got something called unleaded gas. But this was based off of this guy right here, Clair Patterson, and his experimentation and producing the first clean room, right? Trying to get his results right because he felt like the numbers was too damn high. Why? And he realized the numbers were so high because there's some lead coming from another outside source. Well, what was it? And he realized it was the gasoline. And he was using this byproduct in the gas to stretch the gas. As a matter of fact, when he was going back through his testing and stuff, he went to these gas plants and realized that people were dying from lead poisoning. Okay? Dying from lead. He's like, dying from lead poisoning. Why would they die from lead poisoning? He realized that the product they was using, I forget the name of this particular product that had lead in it, right? You know what I'm saying? It was cheap. All right. You know, it's always about that dollar, right? It was cheap. And he realized that that product that the people at the plant were handling were giving them lead poisoning. And this product was being produced, put in the gas to stretch it, because it was cheap, right? Was coming out the emissions and killing people on planet Earth. Fascinating story, man. All this to get the age of the Earth right. See how science works? So you definitely weren't going to be reading the Bible and figure that out. Y'all all would have been dead, burning that quote unquote leaded gas. Anyway, so I think we did a great job right there. Go deeper. I want to know the name of the daggone product that was in there though. It's a I can't think of the product that was. Oh, here you go. I got it. Here you go. Zion, that's it. Here you go. Boop. Accurate account of lead in Zion. Let me see, hold on. Harris Brown, to provide an accurate count of lead. And that's what you talked about, right, Brendan?
That's it. It's the same mineral, right? That's the zircon.
Yeah, you got slick right there. Hold on.
That's it. Right.
You were slick right there. Hold on. Tyson then outlines the work of Patterson did, the graduate under advisor Harrison Brown, to provide an accurate count of the lead in zircon. Okay, particle from the meter. You talked about the meter crater. All right, hold on. Similar results bringing collection, hold on, George Tilton of uranium counts. Yep, we talked about uranium. Everybody that's you show now understands the rate that uranium decays. Uranium 237, hold on, 238, hold on, established the half-life, remember? Yep, uranium counts with established the half-life of uranium's radioactive decay. There you go. Now, I told you we always gonna have something that match up with the hell we saying, right? To lead. This would be used to estimate the age of the Earth. Yep, it's all right here.
That's great.
And it's in real simple form.
That helps. Hey, that's great because it's backing us up. It's not like we're just on here talking, right?
Nah, we refuse to do that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when me and Sosa argue, we arguing over books. Always. Patterson found that, watch this, that his results were contaminated by lead. All right. Ambient environment compared to Tilton's results, and required the construction of the first ultra-high clean room to remove the traces of environmental lead. All right, remember I talked about too much lead in the environment. With these clean results, Patterson was able to estimate the age of the Earth 4.5 billion years. Yeah, that's a half-life, yeah. Okay, Tyson goes on to explain that Patterson's work in performing lead-free experiments directed him to the investigation, to investigate the source of the lead. Remember I talked about that? Tyson notes how lead does not naturally occur in Earth's surface, but has been readily mined by humans like the Roman Empire. Yeah, so you can go to the Arctic and find remains of those Romans smoking that damn lead. That's why them Vikings and them Romans had lead poisons with them cups, right? And that lead is poisonous to humans. Yep, Patterson examined the levels of lead in the common environment, in the deepest parts of the ocean, and at Arctic, at ice. Yep, let me see, hold on. Whoa. Here you go. Okay, he would discover that the higher levels of lead were from the use of the word, tetralead. That's it. Am I saying that right? That's it right there. Tetrathalate. I think I'm saying that right. Tetrathalate. That's the byproduct of that damn gas. Yep. I said that right, Brenton? I mean,
you're close enough. Tetrathalate.
Tetrathalate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's
okay.
it. That's what I wanted.
That's
it. That's what they was using in here. In that daggone gas. And leaded gasoline. Yep, there you go.
It's suffice to say that using lead paint in your house doesn't sound like a good idea, right?
Dr. Feel Good Valentine.
Knock it off. Knock it off.
Knock it off.
Right.
You gotta knock that off.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And here is, I just put in a link to the great courses. This is the evidence for modern physics. You guys go and check that out, man. That's it's some really good listening, right? Just stay on top of your game with everything from a physics perspective, right? And when you guys take a look at it, it's a part of the great courses. In this particular course, it's done by PhD Don Lincoln, right? I think he graduated from Rice University. I think that's where he got his PhD. But some of the good lectures that he has in here, he talks about quantum entanglement, right? Which is, we're going to actually do a show on that, right? Regarding quantum entanglement. He talks about the wave particle duality of light, right? Which is a topic that always comes up and that gets mixed up with pseudoisms sometimes, right? That the whole wave particle duality of light piece, it talks about that. Let's see what else. Some of the really, really good ones. It has a good episode about the Higgs boson, right? And why it's important. Cosmic inflation. It has I think episode 18 or course 18 is about cosmic inflation. It breaks down, that's the evidence for the Big Bang, right? That's one of the most important pieces of evidence that supports the Big Bang theory. And it also goes into a lot of the quantum stuff as well. It talks about, quantum gravity, right? How do we know the quantum wave or the gravitational waves? It talks about that as well. So yeah, this is always I probably listen to this course 3 or 4 times, right? And it just never gets old for me. But I just wanted to put that in there as a reference for the family.
Yeah,
They're not going to get around. They can't get around that. They're not going to be able to get around
it. You can't get around that. I like the way you broke the red down. Tetraethyllead. I like the way you put that, Jed. Appreciate that, bro. Yep, that's how you would actually pronounce that. I see you in there acting a fool. What you talking about, black? Tetralect. We're gonna drop that link. We definitely gonna drop that link. So yeah, when we drop the link, man, we're not gonna be howling and screaming at each other, man. We really want to make sure the ideas get heard to the community, man. We're not doing that shit. We're not cutting nobody off. We understand whose show this is, the Pseudo Killer Show, and we invite conversation and diverse opinions, right? What we're not gonna do is, though, we're not gonna sit up here and people throw around claims and don't support their claims with solid information. So we let you on, right? But don't come in here like you some kind of walking dictionary, because we don't believe you. All right. Hey, Soaps, you want to add something to the conversation, bro? Anything?
I'll just add, you know, these folks on Mars, and you ain't got past gravity yet. You're talking like the 16th century, 16th, 17th century, man. Like, you got a long way to go, fam. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that part of the studies ain't for you. Man, go ahead and pick up on something more modern, man. Don't waste your time back there in gravity, folks. These folks don't move past that, man. So yeah, I'll just say that.
That's funny, yo. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy. All right.
Yeah,
so man. All right, Kyle. Shout out to Kyle, man. I don't know if you're in the chat, man. That's my man, yo. All the way live. Systematic Classification of Life. YouTube. That's a video you want me to look at. I'm on top of it. Go ahead, Brendan.
No, I was going to say that you guys had an interesting sort of conversation at the very end of Garfield's show today. Right. And you were I think one of the brothers asked that it was a very basic rudimentary question about, it's like, how do you define what's pseudo, right? And how do you define what is pseudoscience, right? And I know this is one of those, for me, that's one of those topics that don't necessarily get old on this particular channel.
No, sir.
Right? Because there are those telltale signs, right? that you can always detect. Okay, is this something that's rooted in actual science or false science or pseudoscience, right? And I actually pulled up an article in this actually came from the Journal of Optometry. And it's not necessarily talking about anything about optometry. It talks about the title is Science, Pseudoscience, Evidence-Based Practice and Post-Truth, right? And it talks about these characteristics that you could always look at to determine if something could be considered pseudoscience. This is when you say your pseudoscience senses are sort of going up. And one of the biggest things that I see inside of our community, right, is confirmation bias, right? This whole idea that, within science, right, one of the major goals is to, okay, well, we're going to use rigor to refute some of our claims, right, and test that, right? We don't necessarily, we can make a hypothesis or do a postulation about something that we're observing in the natural world, right? But we also want to do the due diligence, right, to falsify that claim, right? And not use confirmation bias just to validate our hypothesis or our assumptions, right? And I think that's one of the things that we see in this particular community a lot, right, is that whole idea of confirmation bias, right? Some of the other things that you have to look at in terms of, okay, well, is this, when you're asking your question, is this pseudoscience, right? Is the person that's making the claim, is that particular claim falsifiable, right? If you're making a claim that isn't falsifiable, then more than likely it's going to be rooted in pseudoscience, right? Also, right, is the claim testable? Right? Or is what they're proposing, is there a way to actually use a systematic way to test it? If not, it's probably pseudoscience, right? And also, there was another There was another piece in there, and I'll see if I can actually go through the article, right, to get some greater details. But yeah, it's really great. If you guys have access to any academic databases, you can actually pull this up. It's like I say, it's from the Journal of Optometry. It's called Science, Pseudoscience, Evidence-Based Practice, and Post-Truth, right? And I think this has a couple of references from Oxford as well, Stanford Encyclopedia as well. So yeah, it's well sourced. Right. And as well, I guess one of the third things that you should always look at, right, is in terms of the systematic way that a person actually developed their hypothesis or whatever they're postulating, right? If the person or the scientist or whoever's making the claim, right, if they can't demonstrate a systematic way in terms of how they came to their particular hypothesis or whatever they're proposing, then I wouldn't necessarily say that that's one of those signs or concrete piece of pseudoscience, but I would say that you should be asking questions at that point, right? He's like, what is the systematic scientific process by which you came to this particular postulation, right? It's very, very interesting, right? And that one comes to mind when we talk about Diop and his two cradle theory. I ask myself sometimes, right, what is the scientific process, right? Or what was the systematic way in which Diop actually developed his two cradle theory, right? Mm-hmm. That's a question that we can ask, right? To go and say, okay, well, is this considered pseudoscience or not, right? These are those practical sort of things that you can apply to the information that you're reading or whatever you're reviewing, so that you can make those informed decisions there, right? Mm-hmm. And not just jump out the window and say something is valid or something is pseudo without doing your own due diligence, right? Because that's important as well.
Yeah, we ain't never thinking like it's kind of ugly, yo, when a person is, make it to the Met. I don't know. You might not want to call him pseudo. You might just want to say his ideas are outdated now.
Yeah, you want to be really careful.
Yeah, you want to be careful.
I think his I ain't brushed up on his that two cradle theory thing in a minute, but it seemed more of a socio-psychological hypothesis.
There you go.
Versus a scientific hypothesis that could be put under scrutiny. But based on what we know now, and just from what I heard about it, it wasn't wide enough in scope to hash out some of the problems, even on a social psychological level. So we can rule out some of the theory, because like he was right about in terms of the environment playing a role, but he didn't hash it out further and go into, okay, well, not just the cold environment. Well, what are the similarities that a hot environment can produce in a person's mental aptitude versus that would be similar to that in the cold. See, he didn't go further enough and hash out all the different variables. And they always tell you, if you have a scientific theory and it's too vague, you can throw it out. So you just throw that out.
Hey, yo, I just want to say one thing. For me, when you're scientifically literate, you understand that science changes. So understanding that, you know that there are certain things that they're outdated and maybe have been proven over time to not be correct. But to understand the science of understand that science changes, then it was a different time when that information was presented. And like I said, maybe it was accepted for whatever reason and proven over time to not be accurate, but it still don't mean that you're pseudo, because you were dealing with the information you had available at the time. The stuff we have today, we take it for granted, but it ain't always been that way. There hadn't always been cell phones where you can get a glimpse of just about every museum on the planet. You know, people actually, there was a time when people actually had to travel there. And there was also a time when certain people, if they got there, they couldn't get in. You know, so you have to be able, you have to understand that information changes, and understanding that, then you know that, you know, scientists of the past, they dealt with what they had and the situations they were under. You know, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, and some stuff you gotta just throw out like, listen, it's I heard part of it, and like I said, part of that discussion, and it really gets into like everybody agreed on what is wrong. There was just basically a disagreement on what does it mean to be pseudo. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody agreed on what's like nobody's saying Diop is right. Everybody agreed that okay, he's wrong on this. So, but okay, let's take Isaac Newton. Well, what if I say Isaac Newton is pseudo, right? Because Isaac Newton was an alchemist. In fact, he wrote more on alchemy than he did about anything. And he died an alchemist. You see what I'm saying? So I can't, you know what I mean? But if I went and say Isaac Newton was pseudo, they'd be like, oh, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? He just had some bad ideas. And most scientists got some bad ideas. Most scientists produce hypotheses that get shoot down. That's just part of the process. Some of them live long enough to see them confirm, or some long enough to see them debunked. You know, some don't. You know, I don't know when Diop wrote the two cradle theory, but I think Diop died right.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It's like when you read about, you know, Newton from a historical perspective, they always talk about him being probably one of the greatest scientific luminaries, despite this whole alchemy thing that he was sort of preoccupied with half the time, right? Just forget that alchemy stuff that he talks about.
Right. You never even heard that. He was most people never even heard about the alchemy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's
right. He was
most of his work.
Yeah, somewhat of a natural science, right? Yeah. Scientist, right, back then as well, right? But it's
you just got me. You just got me with shit. But it was like a transition from alchemy. It was just like philosophy. Out of philosophy comes science, right? No, philosophy, and then it's your naturalists, and out of your naturalists, then you get your daggone. So they considered Charles Darwin. He wasn't a scientist, he was a naturalist. Remember the Greek philosophers, Greek philosophy? They asked the question of the unknown. It's another word I want to use. What's the word that's outside of the physical? People say metaphysics.
Metaphysics, yeah.
So I think it's philosophy, and there's science, right? Natural science and metaphysics. Somewhere in there was it the metaphysics? How did that go? It's somewhere in there.
Well, all of it is just you know, you're coming up with theories in question before you actually have the ability to put these things to test. And once the technology steps in, now we get that on a technological level. Now we got the sciences. Now we can rule out certain theories. We can debunk them with technology.
Yeah.
That's
and I think it's worth maybe reading up on some of the early sort of definitions and concepts of metaphysics. I think in terms of how we use that term today, that's not necessarily what they thought metaphysics was back then when they were actually practicing it. I think today when we talk about metaphysics, it's associated with New Age and a lot of these weird type things, but metaphysics wasn't necessarily about chakras and, you know, time, all of that stuff, right? It's something totally different.
It was trying to explain the stuff outside of the physical. Remember, outside of the physical.
Right.
Yeah, it was talking about the outside of the physical world, right? Which is supernatural. Remember, we talked about natural and supernatural. So science seeks to explain the natural. Religion explains the supernatural, the outside of the physical realm. Science can't measure something outside of nature. Supernatural. It's not designed for that at all. So yeah, religion is perfect for that. Yeah, absolutely. So
right. And back to the pseudoscientific. Something can be pseudoscientific, but not necessarily wrong. When something's right, because sometimes when you're saying it's pseudoscientific, you're saying that there's no way to test that scientifically. That's what they're saying. So there's no science to test that. So if you're calling it science, it's pseudoscience. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't falsify and that's and it stays right there. And then some of it is just batshit crazy. You know what I mean? Just straight suicide.
So yeah, batshit crazy. So we was having a I'm thinking I can reach that sister, man, and get her to slide through. Right. I want to get her to slide through so we can help her out a little bit.
On the what?
Just period. You know, how you say it? Natapia? How you say it?
Naphtali?
Natali. Why do
Oh,
the lady, yeah, the lady from last night.
I didn't see last night, but I heard that name
she
before.
wants to debate you, Hunk. I don't
I'm
know what she.
I'm familiar with some of her work. I've heard it before.
Oh,
That name is because it's kind of like Nepal, but it kind of stand Naphtali. Yeah. Hebrew sister.
Yeah, I get her to come through, man. I had a conversation. I'm not the big. Come on, man.
On what? On what?
Well, hey, I'm great. I'm great. Show y'all something that's gonna kill him.
On what?
It was the age of the Earth, right? It was that 6,000 years versus the 4.5 billion, right? That would be a slaughter.
Right? The age of 6,000. Listen, man.
12,000.
There's people in her church that would tell her, look, sis, let that go. You don't need the pseudo killers to tell you to let that go. You know what I'm saying? You got people in your community be like, look, sis, we can move past that. Come up with another explanation. You feel me?
You gotta go back a long way, yo.
But I tell you, there's a crazy hodgepodge sets of beliefs that, you know, people have overlapping pseudoisms in this community, right? There'll be a flat earther, then there'll be a young earther, and then they don't believe in they believe in chemtrails. It's like multiple sort of things that are sending people in the rabbit hole these days. So a lot of times you have to ask a bunch of questions before you even have a conversation, it seems, to figure out, okay, well, where does this person actually sit?
Yeah.
So
I can't believe folks still fighting, but here's somebody fighting for 6,000. That's funny.
It's 12. No, she would get slick. Between
double up. Double them up.
It was 6 to 12, right? That's what
double up on your ass.
6 to 12.
And I know she heard that.
Give her a little cushion. Give her a little cushion to work with.
Yeah, a little cushion to work with. Give or take 6,000.
Okay, so she only all about what, like 4.4 billion? 900. She tripping.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Unc, you were only off around what 300,000 years, right? So you were a lot closer than your estimates. A hell of a lot closer.
Oh, you mean with the 4.2?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you were a hell of a lot closer than she was on the whole conversation. So yeah.
Yeah, I was off a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like what do they think? Like when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, what do they think about school? Like, why do you think that's being taught in universities and not 6,000? Like, is it a ploy against God? Like what's the logic in that? You know what I'm saying? That's what
There ain't no logic. So most of them, most of those people like that are conspiracy theorists anyway. So the government out to get you. So the government teaching the wrong, you know.
Yeah, it goes hand.
For that, yeah, it's crazy.
Definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna bring. Hold on, I'll put this in here real quick. I'm trying to see if I can catch up.
And then debate. How you gonna debate? How you gonna debate that? You've already threw out science if you said 12,000. Like, what are you using as evidence? Scriptures?
So I don't know what the hell, but this is we want to bring it here. We're gonna do this. This is a light search right here. We'll just do this. It's definitely this is a job for Wikipedia. Yeah, you should be able to get past Wikipedia in all your endeavors, right? So you got two things here. You got James Usher. All right, if I can get it through. Man, come on now.
Black Select looking for the link. Oh Lord.
Yeah, I see. He wants to talk about Spacetime. He wants to dive into general relativity. Okay.
Yeah, we got him.
Put your thinking caps on.
We got him.
Skip
All right, so the first link, we got the sister on. Yeah, she's up. So the sister's always up for the challenge. Right? The posse, yeah, she's always up for it. Yeah, I gotta give it to her.
Yeah, she pulled right up.
That's it. Oh man.
Pulled right up.
I tell you, she's got your number. She's got your number. I tell you.
Straight up with like, what's popping?
What's popping? What's up? I'm confident what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's talking all that mess. What's good in there?
So yeah, you know, we keep a nice certain decorum, man, and we appreciate you sliding through, sis. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Am I saying it right now? Oh, okay. She gotta go and come back again. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she up for the action. She like the action. We're gonna talk a little space time, have some fun. You don't know we beat up space timers over here.
Oh man.
You're not getting it. You come on here and mess up one piece, you cannot.
You'll never recover, right?
You will never. You better have it together. You know what I'm saying? I might have said radioactive molecules. It should have been radioactive atoms and all that, but that didn't kill me, did that? I'm still in the game, right? I just want you to, you know. But if you come on here for the space time and mess up and add something to it, you know you're gonna get got. That's why we call it pseudo killers. We're gonna let you get your thing off, right? Yeah. Or she might have popped on here and be like, oh shit, that's pseudo killers.
And I think this is one of those topics that's top of mind for Anthony as well, right? Because we talked about this whole, it was the lady that actually just won the Nobel Prize for some of their observational techniques for actually the discovery of the black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, right? And that observational evidence that they were using based on the light that was bending around that, you know, due to the huge gravitational effects of that supermassive black hole, right? And that lends to the whole idea of general relativity, right? When you talk about space-time and how gravity could actually curve or manipulate the fabric of space. So I think we had a conversation on that. It was like a couple months ago, right? And we had some really, really good conversation about that. What is that effect called, right? I don't remember right off the top of the head. What is that effect called? The curvature of light as it actually moves around a massive object in space. What is that effect called, right?
It's called, Brendan. It's called gravitational lensing.
Yep, the gravitational lensing, and we call these the relativistic effects of what we see in the cosmos, right? These like for instance, everything that we understand, right, in terms of everything that we do on the Earth, in terms of like putting satellites in space, you know, with Brother James flying airplanes, all these things that we can do under classical physics, under Newtonian physics, without any of the ideas of relativity, right? The things that they were measuring, those are those relativistic effects, right? Even I think it's the orbit of Mercury, right? Due to its proximity, in close proximity to the sun, right? Its orbit is actually impacted by those relativistic effects as well, that curvature of space-time due to that enormous pull of that gravitational effect of the sun. So we do talk about these things. And maybe the black intellect, right? You can jump on, you know, maybe later when Unks gets ready to put the link out.
Yeah, we can let you dive on, have some fun. Let me hold on, I'm trying to get the link, send a link to the email. Have some fun, man. Just don't come on here with the googly guys, yo. Yeah, we need to have fun.
Right.
We always up for it. Like, I'm just letting you know, like we definitely up for it. Yeah, it's space time, everything got Brother Vance on.
Right. And the ticking of the clock, right? Remember we talked about the adjusting for the time clocks on those GPS satellites due to the fast rate of their orbits, right? Though that's a relativistic effect, right? Because it falls within, right, Einstein's theory of special relativity, right? As well as the acceleration of gravity when you're talking about putting a clock close to the earth as opposed to higher up off of the ground, right? Those differences, those are relativistic effects that we have to account for.
Hey, Brendan, if I'm not mistaken,
Hold on, 1 minute. What's going on, Vance? Pseudo Kill Official, what's good, bro?
Oh man, what's good? What's good? I'm just here to support y'all, brothers. I'm glad the topic ain't Egypt. Shit, I probably shouldn't have said that. Y'all might get caught talking about it right now.
Nah. We got Sosa. We got King
Peace, what's
Sosa
good,
on
Brendan?
here, Malcolm on here. You know, we ain't doing that. Come on now.
Oh yeah, for sure. What's good, Malcolm? What's good, Anthony? So where you been at, boy?
What's good? What's good? In the cut, man.
Peace to you, man.
No, I know.
In the cut.
Right?
I know. I
Wait
know
for
it.
the
I ain't mad
explosion.
at you.
Wait for
Yeah.
the
It was a nuclear war going on. And you was out in the bunker.
Yeah, I sit that out, man.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
good.
man.
That's good. But yeah, don't let me interrupt y'all, Brendan. I know Brendan going in doing his thing as always.
Is the nuclear war going on? Somebody's gonna get blown up. I'm not gonna be around it.
Yeah. Sosa said he had to get in the bunker. He tapped out on y'all. Man, I did too.
Man.
Nuclear war going on around this motherfucker.
I was trying to broker the peace, but it fell apart. It fell apart in the end, and there was a split. There was a split in the nation. So,
right, that's what I'm saying. It was a nuclear war. That's what I'm saying. It was never gonna be the same after that. I was like, oh yeah, it's crazy around here.
That shit is the devil, was.
Right. We gotta be anti-Egypt for like 24 months. Like we can't even talk about it.
If a nigga would have had guns, somebody would have got shot. Like
so, I'm telling you,
like somebody would have got shot over goddamn Amenhotep before, bro.
Right. Right.
Man.
It was crazy. It was crazy, yo. It was the whole field is radiated. They orbit around Egypt and it's all full of radiation, yo. They dying out there. Crazy.
Man, say, man, get out of this space. Something say, man, I'm not around that.
You're gonna die behind no Egypt, bro. I ain't die behind Egypt.
Fuck that.
I ain't never been. Let me go first. Let me go one time, and then I might be ready to sacrifice my life. But I ain't even been there yet.
Oh man, Vance was like, y'all about to fall out.
In the back
check.
Yeah. I called it.
You called it.
Saying things. I'll be trying to stop it before it happened because I've been around guys and I know how we are. Like when you do and say certain things, there's no recovering from that. When you put yourself in when you create a certain atmosphere, there's no real turning back. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew what was about to happen and it kept happening. I was like, man, it's out of control. This is radioactive. It's all bad.
Yeah. Man, what are we doing? What have we done?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to peep that scene and be like, hey, you know what? Hey, it's time to slide. Let's go ahead and slide out, bro.
Sosa, I was screaming all of that in the back chat. I was screaming all of that in the back chat, like, yo, y'all need to chill, stop, get out of the car.
The homie done went to the trunk, bro. I think it went to his car, bro. Let's go ahead and slide, bro.
Right.
Slide over down this real quick.
Homie in his trunk.
Yeah, we ain't coming for that. Let's go ahead and slide on out, bro. Yeah.
They had the Egyptian in the trunk. I said, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? That's manly to slide out. Like some folks don't want to slide. They think that's cowardice. Nah, bro, that's smart like that. Look.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and slide, bro. Let's slide.
Man, I'm just glad to see you on here, Sosa. I'm glad to see you on here. I was like, damn, we done lost Sosa.
Nah. I was just in the cut, man. I'd be doing other shit, but I had some time, so I pulled.
Oh, okay. Bet.
Brendan having individual conversations, trying to talk everybody off the ledge.
I try not to let it get that deep with me. You know what I mean? I try to let it not, you know what I mean? Get too
Absolutely. It's not that serious. It should never be that serious.
You know what though? I realize we all give each other warning shots. Like Sosa give me a warning shot, and I'll actually know where his ledge is before he cuts me out. Right? Because I know my personality can be overbearing at times, right? Just the way I say shit and just the whole moxie behind what the hell I say sometimes get you like, nigga, fuck you. I get that. Like, I ain't tripping. So it's certain cues we give each other, right? Brendan got a little cue, Vance got a cue, you know what I'm saying? Sosa got a cue. We all know our cues. When you start going over those damn cues, it ain't no way back on that. It's no way back. Once a person give you a cue, we call it a warning shot, right? And you know what I'm saying? Like Sosa is really laid back, but I push him sometimes like in the street, be like, come on, yo. He don't say it that way, but it's the way he react to certain things. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we live, people watching, and don't nobody want to get really, because it's really just information at the end of the day, right? And so we should never, I always said friendship should never be tested, right? It shouldn't be. So everybody, every man and woman, you got certain warning shots you give your friends, right? Or your associates, right? And if you start running that warning shot too many times, a person is going to react. So that's what basically happened. We start reacting over our things and shit got blurred, the vision got blurred. And, you know, I ain't gonna say it. I almost said the bitch ass nigga. I ain't gonna say it. But when you bring bitch ass niggas around, yo, that's always gonna mess up everything. Just for the record. But let's move forward with elegance and grace. I'm gonna drop that link in there, right? And let's see. So we can get this conversation rolling real quick.
And while the brother calls in that wants to talk about general relativity, he asked the question, how does gravity, how can I explain that how gravity affects a clock, right? And let's pull this up. There's a scientific term for it called gravitational time dilation, right? And while gets that link ready, let's review some sources. Let me know if you guys could actually see this, right? This is from our great Wikipedia, right? Wiki is good for certain things, right? This is just a high level definition of gravitational time dilation, right? All right, can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It says gravitational time dilation is a form of time dilation and an actual difference of elapsed time between two events as measured by observers situated at varying distances from a gravitating mass, right? The lower the gravitational potential, right? The closer the clock is to the source of the gravitation, the slower time passes, right? Speeding up as the gravitational potential increases, the clock getting away from the source of gravity. Albert Einstein originally predicted this effect in his theory of relativity, and it has since been confirmed by tests of general relativity, right? So essentially what this is saying, right? It says the lower the gravitational potential or the closer the clock is to the source of gravity, the time passes slower. Like for instance, remember when I just mentioned, right? You could take a high precision clock, take one of them and place it on the ground, right? And then take the other clock, that high precision clock, raise it up off the ground, right? And say, for instance, 20 feet. I think our clocks go to a precision of almost 10 feet now, right? And based on that location, right, closer to the Earth, which is what we call the gravitating mass in our instance, right? Earth is the gravitating mass. That clock will tick at a different rate based on its location and proximity to the Earth, right? So that's just a high level sort of description of this phenomenon called gravitational time dilation. Right?
Okay.
So that's a high level explanation for it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we got our first caller on the panel, man. Come on, Issa. What's up?
Greetings, panel. Beautiful conversation. I love it. Obviously, I've only got a limited time because other people coming on. So basically, yeah, I heard the end of what you said in regards to my question about how does gravity actually affect the clock. So I think from what I heard, you answered it. So most people, when they say it, they just talk about it in the way of, well, gravity affects it. And they leave it there. So my point was, if you were to make a steel clock and put a magnet over it, then, you know, we could understand directly how, because we deal with magnets. Yeah. So when we're talking to a lot of our religious brothers and sisters, I'm thinking they need certain things that are more simple. But the thing I really want to get on with you is this, my brother, because one of you, I think it was you, mentioned metaphysics. Okay. And there's a lot of critique about metaphysics. So here's the thing. In a short sentence, what would you say that space-time is?
What is space-time in a short sentence?
Yeah, what would you say it is? Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, however you want to put it.
I don't like giving my definitions of anything, right? Because things have definitions, right? If we're going to deal with the definition of space-time, right? I'd rather deal with a scientific definition, right? And a proper definition, because Brendan's personal sort of description of it doesn't hold weight, right? It doesn't mean anything, right? Quite frankly.
But I would suggest it would show that you've comprehended it, and therefore you can explain it in your own way.
One sec, East, hold on. See, we call that trickology right there.
It's called quizumship.
Yeah, quizumship.
No.
Right?
Hold on, Issa, hold on for a minute.
Okay.
Issa Islam, you forgot. Yeah, I
Shut
know.
up, you. Shut up, you.
So this the game they used to play.
Oh.
If you make one mistake, right, in a high-level conversation about some shit that we ain't experts on, all of a sudden the field you're talking about is wrong, or you're not qualified to talk about that. Well, since we're not experts, we stick to it. Like, he's going to bring up a definition and read it. So whether he understands it or not, it's the sources this is going to represent what we're talking about, though, Issa. Just make sure you got a source to back up what you're saying, because I'm going to ask you for it in a minute. Not yet, though. You ain't there yet, but you creeping up. Your line of question is leading somewhere, Issa. Why don't you just tell us where you're leading at? Let's just get straight there. Go ahead.
You see, hold on. Could I just say, this brother's always suspicious that I'm coming sneaky. I'm not. That's only with you, brother. Yeah, that's only with me.
And I will. And right? That was a fair question, right? And I will give. I'll give a shot at it, right? Okay. In terms of space-time, right? It's the definition, or I would say from a theoretical perspective, right? This is a description of how space and time associate with each other, right? That association between space and time that's described within Einstein's theory of general relativity, right? That is what space-time is.
Okay. No, what I meant.
So the definition about space-time is wrapped within Einstein's theory of general relativity.
I got that.
Right.
What I meant was when I said what it is, in the sense that, so we would say it's a mathematical model. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. It is. And there are mathematical models wrapped within Einstein's theory of general relativity. Right. Correct.
The angle I'm coming at it is not the perspective of that it's merging space and time in relation to mathematics, which becomes complex for most people. The bit I'm focusing on, my brother, is that it's a mathematical model. Therefore, it's psychological. Do you agree with that bit?
I knew you was going to do it.
Stop, man.
No, you go ahead, and it sounds like you've given some thought to this. So go ahead and explain. You know,
right.
I'm not going to agree or disagree with anything you're saying.
Go ahead, bro.
Until you're clear on what you're saying.
Right. What I'm saying is this, my brother. Okay. You know what? Let me just lay it out, and then you respond. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is there is a detest, let's say, from our pure scientific brothers of metaphysics. Okay. Now I'm suggesting that metaphysics is a natural part of studying physics. And the perfect example is space-time, because it's a mathematical model upon which we describe the interaction between things that are actually physical and tangible that we can see. Do you understand? So I'm saying when they talk about...
Hold on. You said things that aren't physical and tangible.
No, that are.
So you said that are physical. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So when you talk about the planets, for instance, they're physical, tangible, we could see them, etc. Right? We can't see with our eye. In fact, you can't detect space-time, right? Because it's a mathematical model.
But it can be measured, right? It can be measured, and we can measure gravity. So the idea that we can't see it, no, you can't see it with your eyeball. No, you can't. But obviously, right? But it can be measured.
I'm saying
so from a scientific perspective, yes, we can see through science. We can see it.
But
figuratively.
This is Thank you. This is the metaphysics that I'm talking about. So I'm saying, when we go into ancient language, for instance.
What language would that be?
Shut yeah.
Help me out. What it be?
I ain't gonna say Arabic, Kemet, the Commission language, right? Yoruba, shut up. He wants me to say Arabic, right? Akkadian, there you go. Sumerian, there you go. I got you. I got you. Okay, so any ancient language, right? I'm saying those people that literally personified everything. So the further back you go with language, they personified everything. So I'm saying when they're describing things of nature and gods and whatever else, angels, etc., it's only natural that through their language and their perception that they use metaphysics to describe the physical phenomena. And I'm saying we're doing this same thing. It's part of human nature, but they were approaching it differently because they're just living with nature. Do you know what I mean? They're not like, if we're approaching it from the perspective of mathematics like we are, you would need a mathematical model to explain the forces that you can't see and detect, so to speak. Do you understand? So would you agree basically that space-time as it stands is in the realm, or could be placed in the realm of metaphysics? Not religious metaphysics.
It's in the realm. It's in the realm of theoretical physics, not metaphysics.
Well, how would you distinguish between the two?
Well, let's pull this up, right? There's a definition for metaphysics. Okay. So let's deal with what metaphysics is, as opposed to theoretical physics and what we just say, let's do this.
Well,
I mean, I do.
Let's do that.
I do have a problem.
We have to level set. We have to level set for the audience as well in terms of what we're talking about, because what we don't want to do, we don't want to take for granted that everybody understands regarding this idea of metaphysics, right? Because working definitions are important, right? Because I may think that metaphysics is something completely different than what you think metaphysics is, right? So here's Wiki again. Let me know if you can actually see this, because again, we need a working definition of what metaphysics is, right?
I agree, but can I just say this, my brother?
Go ahead.
Also, we need to get used to the fact that definitions are not limited to what we find in the dictionary, because dictionaries are there to record.
I'm not gonna. Be careful. Be careful, because one thing I don't do is argue. I don't argue with dictionaries. Again, I don't argue. I don't argue with dictionaries, and I don't argue with textbooks.
Please stop assuming stuff.
So as soon as someone starts arguing with the definition, dictionary terms, that's where I get out of the car.
Bro, listen to what I'm saying. I'm very scientific. I'm very methodological.
He said, freeze for 1 minute. Hold on. I just want the audience.
I need to stop there.
I just want the listening audience to know there were two things mentioned here, that your antennas and your spider sense should have went off the roof. We heard metaphysics coupled with space-time. Your sister said,
nope.
Then we heard, we don't deal with dictionaries. Did that work? Let me finish. Those two items there, we should have had the thing that said pseudo alert. But go ahead, Issa. I'm just
right. Hold on. Let me make it clear. I did not say we don't deal with dictionaries. I said in our community, we are misunderstanding the purpose and function of a dictionary. It is there to record, first and foremost, the origin of a word, so the etymology. Number two, the general usage and meaning given, or meanings via a community, what it means and what they say it means. So the same word in one part of the country, it can mean something, and in the other part of the country, it means something else. So if you're reading something and you understood it one way, you can say, well, it's got two here. Which one did they mean? And neither are wrong unless you can determine which one they meant. This is all I'm saying. So in fact, the definition you got up, it actually mentions space and time. So it don't really make no, I'm not saying don't use a dictionary at all. I'm just saying our approach is too subservient, because remember, you go to a dictionary in the 70s, it's not going to have some of the definitions which it now has in 2022, because they add meanings to it, which tells you that they actually are giving you a record of meanings according to what the society gives and uses these words to mean. Do you get what I'm saying, my brother Brendan?
Yeah, that was a great explanation of what a dictionary is. Okay.
Thank you. Uncle Cat, See, Uncle Kid always trying to make me look like pseudo, right? And then Brendan.
That was a great. That was a great.
What I heard.
So now that we all know what a dictionary is,
Hey, can I tell you what I heard?
Exactly, because you biased.
I heard a whole bunch of mumble. What the hell was he talking about?
You biased, bro. I
want to get to the meat of it. I want to get to because again, we have to. We go off the rails, right?
Yeah.
He's off the rails already.
It's only
but I do think this definition of metaphysics is interesting, right?
Yeah.
If not important, interesting because we talked about it earlier. So let's do this. It says metaphysics is the branch of philosophy, right? So it's a branch of philosophy that studies the fundamental nature of reality, first principles of being, identity and change, space and time.
Thank you very much.
Causality, necessity, and possibility, right? So based on that sentence alone, right? This is a philosophical explanation of space and time, right? That's what metaphysics provides, a philosophical explanation, or a philosophical study within the nature of the space and time, right? What we're talking about when we talk about general relativity in terms of how Einstein does, there's nothing philosophical about what he's describing,
bro.
Right?
I hate
that's something that's rooted in physics, mathematics, and that's something that can be tested empirically, right? And we have tested and proven it empirically to this day.
I hear you. I'm what I'm saying is I don't want to go down the route of, well, what's philosophy, and then it's the love of wisdom and all that kind of thing. I'm making it very basic.
Right.
What I'm saying is that you have something which is not tangible, but it allows your brain to work out things or the equations between things that you can see, right?
So you're saying space is not something that's tangible?
I'm saying space-time, the model itself. Space-time as a model. So for instance, if somebody said an angel is metaphysical, right? If somebody broke it down, what it meant, symbols, whatever, or a sphinx, I'm saying they would have to break it down for you, but it's not tangible. And they said, well, the angel caused this physical effect here. I'm saying that's within the framework of their religion and philosophy. And I'm saying within this, you still have the same thing. You have something that is not tangible. It is a basis for which you can relate other things and other equations. But the main point I'm making is they have to speak of it as if it is tangible. So they use terms like curving the fabric of space-time, bending the fabric of space-time. But there is no bending. It becomes metaphorical language now. It's not literal anymore.
So just give a mathematical equation for a metaphysical phenomenon.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying only when we approach things through our own lens. So we forget about religious stuff. We forget about the purely scientific stuff. And we take both science and both religion from our own perspective. So we don't take their commentary and just follow them blindly. So if they define metaphysics as something, why can't we add our own if we can see that it actually covers that as well? Because I'm saying this is where the fallout I can see is between our purely scientific brothers and our purely religious brothers. And I'm saying there is a thing that links both. And it is things like this.
Bro.
Yeah, you're talking about philosophy. There's always going to be that split. Right. That split between philosophy and hard science has existed for centuries. And I presume that it will continue, right? Yeah. Because, there are certain tenets within hard science that you're just not going to be able to reconcile with just philosophy, right? There's no. I predict that split will continue to exist. Right?
You're trying.
And if you want to talk about space-time from a philosophical point of view, I don't see if there's no problem with that. You can do that, right?
But hold on, you predict that it's going to remain that way. But check this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree? They still have not closed the gap between quantum physics and Einstein relativistic physics.
Absolutely.
Okay, and this is my point to you, right? That gap has remained for what, 70 years or so, right?
70 years.
Well, Einstein,
yeah,
when did he die?
Since since general relativity was postulated.
Right. So I'm saying even since then, they've still got this gap. What I'm saying to you is, I'm not even saying I'm right. I'm just presenting something to you as a panel of thinkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it we have to wait behind them and their discoveries? In other words, let's say your conversation was, or we had a conversation in which we were trying to sort out what were the problems between the two, and we came up with conclusions. And we tried to make the connection between relativistic physics and quantum physics.
Who's the them?
Us here, brother Brendan, and whoever.
No. You said, why do we gotta wait on them? Who are the them?
Oh, them as in,
the
for
experts.
instance, well, you saying experts? Hold on.
Maybe we should rely on theoretical physicists
within
these particular realms, right? Because none of us on this panel can work out Einstein's theory of general relativity, right? I would say that's a pretty safe assumption to say, right? That at its fundamental level, we can't work out the mathematics based on that, right? You're going to have to be able to do that first, right? You can talk about it philosophically. We can dance around the mulberry bushes and all of this stuff, but at a fundamental level, right? When you're talking about doing the mathematics at the quantum level, right? When you're talking about doing math, that one of the issues, right? Why it's so hard to reconcile general relativity and in quantum mechanics is because of the mathematics involved in it, right? When they do mathematical calculations, right, trying to reconcile those two theoretical principles, right?
Yep.
You end up with like infinite numbers, right? Infinite levels of possibilities, right? Black holes pop out mathematically in places that just doesn't make sense. Right. We know that there's something missing in terms of our understanding of the physical world, because we have these things that pop up within the math. Right. We can't, me and you, we can't fix those things. Right. Wow. And all of the philosophy and the talking about it and meditating, that's not going to change that. You're going to have to show mathematically how these things reconcile.
Right.
So we just can't do it.
Brendan, that's an understanding that you're an enthusiast and not an expert. You know what I'm saying? When you're an enthusiast, you follow the experts. So to sit up here and act like I'm qualified to tell you Einstein is wrong or whatever is just totally crazy, because I know my place. I am an enthusiast. So I'm listening to the experts, and the experts don't say that space and time is a fabric. They say it behaves like a fabric.
No, they don't. Well, they do. I'm saying if you ask them, yes, but I'm saying the wording that they use is, they just say the bending of the sentence will say the fabric of space time. So I'm saying that's what they use, because they talk about it as if it's a tangible thing that bends and so on and etc.
The effects that it has, or the effects that's detected because of it, and the prediction in
because
Einstein's
of space-time?
The effects that gravity has on objects, especially light. It's really prevalent with light. So they say it behaves like a fabric, because if you look at it in the simplest forms, the more massive an object is, it's like it's making a bigger indentation on something. And that something is what they call space and time. Because if you, in a very basic form, if you in a big room, just say you're in a ballroom, and you leave your drink on one side of the room and you walk to the other side, you've created space in between you and that drink. And it's going to take you time to get back to that drink. Now, if you take that same concept, it's the same thing between Earth and Jupiter. It's going to take time for you to cover that space. So that's why, they say it's woven together like a fabric. And then you see the effects that gravity has on certain on objects. It's like a bending in a fabric, like being on a trampoline. You know
No,
what
no,
I'm
I
saying?
understand all that. Brother, I understand all of that. Okay. Let's say, for instance, we're trying to get our people onto a scientific way of thinking. By continuously saying the things that you lot are saying, we're not going to have the Einstein type people and even Max Planck, because remember, when Einstein was saying his stuff, the people then were calling him crazy. Who do you think you are? When Max Planck came out with his thing, there was another youngster, or was it Max Planck? One of these, a young scientist, and these are all these older guys that knew all of this stuff were trying to work something out. And he come along with his thing and turn these guys the other way. So what my point is, even if, let's say we can't, the whole idea that they can't arise from us and we just sit behind and wait until they find it, I just think it's not really the right message to get out there. But yeah, I suggest that, you know, this actually is problematic in the way that it seems you have not taken into account all of the different expert opinions about the nature of the universe. I mean, obviously, it sounds like you lot would reject the holographic theory or the holographic quantum theory, which, however the guy puts
holographic.
And I
Show
don't
me a
want
working model.
Holographic. I don't want to get it confused either, because think about it, right? The halls of science are open to anyone that wants to participate, brother. It's like if any of us wanted tomorrow, if we want to go enroll at the University of Boulder and study astrophysics, we're free to do so in this country, right? But I think what we're saying, right, when you said that Einstein and his theories, right, people thought they were crazy. You talk about Max Planck, right? But the idea that these were scientists, these were physicists, they weren't like, you know, people that were working at the local, you know, Waffle House, right? These people, you know, so they were actually involved in the field.
In this, yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, you know,
so you're saying they're experts as well, basically.
Yes. They were experts, right? Even right.
But what my point is, my brother, is that when we compare ourselves to them, the amount of time it took for them to go through a book and look for a page and blah, 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 that process is sped up. You know, we can watch a video and learn so much just about stuff, and then we can go to a book even and search for one word and find out where it is. And the time it took them to learn something might have took 20 years, and it might take us 5 days. So, because there was so much information, now it's more compacted. So when you all keep saying this, I'm just thinking, right, okay, you know, is that the case? I mean, let me ask you this. Why can't artificial intelligence work out this gap?
Hold on for a minute, Issa. So where you reading this at, bro? Stop playing.
Because last time I checked, right, people weren't becoming physicists on YouTube by you watching YouTube videos. Right? People were, you know, going and through PhD programs, all of those things, right, are still sort of at play today, right? I don't know.
No, but, brother, listen to what you just said, right? In relation to Einstein.
Issa, relax. Issa, where you reading this at, bro? You're not just sitting there coming up with this.
Which bit, bro?
What you talking about? Stop it. Where's the book you've been reading? Knock it off.
Bro, I got a brain, bro. I study everything that I can.
I'm asking you, what's the text you're reading from? We like to show the listener.
This is stuff I've been reading this stuff for like 20 odd years, bro. It's not like one book.
I'm gonna do it for you, bro. Here, everybody see the screen. He's reading something like this. Physics and metaphysics. Don't play with me, yo. You know I do.
I ain't seen it. What's this? Oh, okay.
Don't play with me. Don't play. Let's not play.
Only you would big up.
That got him excited. You say, it got him excited.
I'm saying only Uncle bring up this stuff. Like, you know, when you're back, you think you're going to get some of
Take that down. Take it down.
We're not doing it.
Take it down.
We're not doing it. We're not going to sit here and do this. You know, I've been doing this for a long time.
Oh my God, you know.
Come on.
Oh,
come on.
Let me search this book.
You know, I got the ear. When I hear it, I'm gonna find it.
Right.
That's my role in this community. I can hear you saying it, and I'm gonna say, I know it's. I'm seeing it somewhere.
No, I've never heard of this. But I would like to see what they're saying.
Jennifer, trust it. Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
There's another one. Hold on. I'll see if I can pull it up while you're doing what you're doing.
He's not
Another interesting
thinking
one.
up this stuff like this. Don't play us. Go play Lilo. You're not just sitting around. Huh, I think I'm gonna throw together metaphysics and space time. Stop it.
All right, we'll see.
Come on.
Oh, bro, I can't believe it, man.
Right,
Anyway,
You sitting around thinking up that, yo, we're gonna give you the Nobel Prize of Science, yo.
That's fine, bro.
Take a look at this one. The Tao of physics.
Oh,
Have you
I read
ever heard
that
of this one?
Yeah, that's like 25 years ago. I read that.
Dude,
man.
I can tell.
I don't remember. No, but you say you can tell. I don't
Right.
know if I remember anything about it really.
Oh, I think it has made an impression on your worldview, right?
No, but this what I mean. You lot are guessing. I know it says a lot of assumption and guesses. Like
no.
I approach things very open-minded, like you say, which book you read, blah blah blah. So I'm saying,
where you get it from? Explain to us.
Oh, okay, let me explain.
Wait,
I didn't guess. You told us you read it, right?
You said you
Yeah, but I'm saying the imprint. Because I'm saying at the time when I read that, I was religious, right? So
you stopped being religious. So you
hold on.
Before you go forward, are you admitting I was right?
What?
8 years ago, when we argued this very points of religion, have you changed?
What do you mean?
You said, when did you stop being religious, Islam?
Yeah, no, I'm saying right. Let me finish, bro. Religious in the sense that you're following what the scholars and imams say. Religious in the sense that you're not thinking for yourself. So when I'm telling a brother I went through this book, I'm saying it would have just been the interesting thing as opposed to I'm getting information that replaces any opinions I have. So therefore, back then that wouldn't have had much impact. However, books, you asked which books, like, I mean, there's I can't remember this guy's name, but he's a physicist. I think he's a quantum physicist, and he keeps arguing against the general other physicists. And he's arguing that consciousness is a part of the universe. But that's not where I'm going with this. My point is,
I know you believe in that, but keep going.
Not really, to be honest.
A little bit.
Yeah, I got my other theories. But anyway, I just wanted to put that there. I know you all have got your opinions on stuff, and I appreciate your responses. And yeah, I guarantee that those people who do not fall in line, so to speak, we keep thinking, you know what I mean? So we have to work this stuff out. And the main thing for anyone listening is
Are you suggesting that if you don't go to college, then some kind of way you're actually thinking? If you don't go to school and learn and get some type of degree in said subject, then you're not thinking.
No, hell no, bro. You need to go. You study the heck out of whatever you can, degree or whatever else. Whatever it is, you apply, bro. So you might as well say I might have 10 degrees by the flipping amount of stuff I study. But the point is, I'm saying
we can hear that you have no degrees. We can actually hear that. But
no, we're not gonna say that.
I mean, that's fine. What it is, I know it's, but this is the problem. You saying that there's a guy called Deepak Chopra, right? And he's got loads of degrees, and you would say the same about him. The other guy I was talking about is a physicist. He's got degrees, but he says there's consciousness throughout the universe. So you can't say you hear this or that. Each person has their opinion on something. I'm saying I'll just ask the question. I appreciate your answers, my brother, and your time.
I think it was a great conversation, brother. I think it was great dialogue.
I just was trying to find out who the they was.
They
went to school. Who's the they?
They as in what? The scientists? Is that what you
mean? That's the scientists. You're talking about the scientists? Okay.
No, but I do think, well, anyway, like I said, not every scientist, physicist toes the same line. They do have their own theories around how things are working.
Yes, they do.
I mean, but you, Unc, because you're biased. Now, this is the thing. This is the thing that's unscientific about you. You would just reject him. You wouldn't even look at what he's got to say. You just, hold on, wait, let me finish. Just like you've been accusing me, brother, right? You would just reject anyone who says, oh, there's consciousness throughout the universe, right? No, forget him. You just told a line with straight physics, straight blind stuff, because as soon as you hear the word consciousness in the universe, Uncle Ket would be, no, that's religious. Boom.
No, I wouldn't. I would say, for there to be consciousness, there has to be a brain. That's all I would say.
Are you serious?
Yes, Mr. Issa, I'm dead serious. That's what you really want to get to. Like
No,
before
not
you
at
start talking
all.
about being conscious of anything and consciousness and all that, you need a brain, bro. That's simple for me.
No, bro, that's Uncle Ket. That's not what they're saying, because they're saying even the physicists nor the
No.
neurologists
No.
know what consciousness actually is.
Okay.
So
That's
therefore,
not what they really saying.
physicists-
We just went through a whole conversation. And it's not what they actually saying, but whatever.
bro,
Yeah,
you're not getting the
it's
point.
the whole concept of the mind-body dualism, right? I've studied this stuff, right? It talks about it, right, in that book that I just shared about, the Tao of physics. This whole idea that somehow the mind is separate from the body, right? And there's a distinction there. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Brendan, since we're on this, right? The observer effect. The point, the concept I'm talking about.
There you go.
No, listen. No, because listen, the way Uncle Ket
know what's coming, yo. Now we all know.
No,
first I was thinking, well, Unc, give him a chance. Now we all
Here
know.
we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
So he stepped into it. So he stepped into it with general relativity. So now we want to talk about the nature of reality at the quantum level. So go ahead.
No, Brendan, listen. Please, you're different than Unc, right? Unc is just whatever. Right. What I'm saying is, bro, because these are stuff that I haven't spoken about with anyone for flipping years, bro. Yeah. So they're not really fresh in my mind. But I'm just saying, because we brought this up and Uncle Keck said, oh, it has to have a brain. What's your opinion, brother Brendan, in regards to the idea that there needs to be an observer for there to be free? I think the guy keeps saying the moon. Like the moon doesn't exist unless some, do you know what I mean?
It was the whole idea that Einstein said it. He says that I refuse to believe the moon isn't there when I'm not looking at it. Right. It was one of his famous sayings, right? And Einstein, quite frankly, he had some issues with this whole idea regarding this what you would call it, the probabilistic nature of the universe as we understand it within quantum mechanics, right? So it goes into this whole idea about the observer effect, saying that, in terms of, if I could just say as just describe it for lay people, right? Such as myself, right? We're talking about, I'll give you an example, right? Say that you're standing at the top of a flight of stairs and you've got your phone in your hand, right? And if you drop your phone and if it bounces down all the stairs and lands somewhere on the floor, right? At the quantum level, right? There's a probability that your phone, right, is in multiple different locations simultaneously, right? Even clearer, right? Your phone is in all possible locations simultaneously, right? And it isn't until you look and you observe your phone, right, that something is what we call the collapse of the wave function. Right? The collapse of the wave function, and your phone is at a particular space on the floor, probably broken or whatever, right? At a high level, that is an explanation of the observer effect, right? That is sort of a definite or sort of a description of what's happening at the quantum level, right? This idea that you have to have quite frankly, this idea that you have to have a conscious observer, right, for the collapse of the wave function, right? This was the whole idea, like for instance, like with Schrodinger's cat, right? The idea, the analogy where you could have a cat be both dead and alive at the same time. All of these interesting thought experiments that the physicists did back in the day, right?
Can I just say, you were talking about thought experiments, but what about the double slit experiment?
Okay, go ahead.
Are you not saying that's related to that?
To the observer effect? Yeah, you're talking about the collapse of the wave function, or
so I'm saying
somewhat similar, right? Somewhat similar there.
Because I'm saying that's the easiest one, right?
Thomas Young.
Right.
So do you agree it was physicists that believed in this observer effect, and Einstein said he didn't accept that, correct?
Well, there was a description within quantum physics that Einstein did not agree with, right? And specifically what he disagreed with was this whole idea that what Einstein wanted to do, right? He wanted to find whatever variables. He thought that there were variables within physics that we were missing, right, that would account for this probabilistic nature of the universe, right? Because his whole idea, another one of his famous quotes is that I refuse to believe that God rolls the dice, right?
Yeah.
He said that he does not believe that God rolls the dice. So you have what we call the EPR paradox, right? With Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen, right? Trying to actually work out this whole idea, right? What is there some hidden variable? Is there something missing in our understanding of quantum mechanics, right? That explains that probabilistic nature of the universe, right? And one of the interesting things about it, right, is that remember the recent Nobel Prize this year in theoretical physics, right? It actually proved Einstein wrong, right? That actually the physical world is probabilistic at its very nature at the quantum level, right? And there is no missing variables or something that we don't understand, because they were actually able to actually verify a lot of this stuff using those pure empirical observation techniques, right? So I would say if you're interested in that, take a look at the team that just won the Nobel Prize in physics in 2022, right? So
okay, but I just wanted to say the thing was, because I think Godbody News says, just like energy simply means to do work. I never saw a whole community use the word so wrong. And I agree. We use the word energy as if it's something as opposed to a potential or the capability or capacity to do work or do something. Now, here's the thing. The observer effect, right? Is it to do, now it's spoken of by some physicists as if it's the mind and the brain of the person affecting the subatomic particles that were fired out of the machine in a double slit experiment. Do you agree?
That was the whole that was the Copenhagen interpretation, right? That was the Copenhagen interpretation, that they said that was a consciousness that was acting on the physical world, right?
Right. So he was saying that,
which, by the way, has been abandoned, right? It was even abandoned by the people who came up with the Copenhagen interpretation. That was abandoned, right?
Okay, so I'm saying that's one. But then the other, was it not presented that it's actually the devices that you're using to observe that affect it? Do you get what I'm saying? So as opposed to a brain, hold on, God, I'm saying, did they not take into account that it's actually the devices that you're using? Because how I understood it was, if you're firing a photon to measure the position of an electron, the firing of it is affecting the position.
Yeah. Right. There was an impact. The measuring, the actual tool that they were using to measure the phenomenon was impacting. Right. Yeah. Correct.
Right. So I'm saying this was, as opposed to consciousness as in the mind doing it, I was saying, well, what about the actual devices that are doing the measurement? Because you're at such a level where, you know, if you use a billiard ball or whatever, and you use that against maybe a tiny little something where it doesn't really affect it, you could measure it more accurately. But if you're using something which has similar mass, then you're actually
I don't know about that,
what you're trying to measure.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm not sure.
What
did he say?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, because it even goes even to a more fundamental level than that, right? Because we know if you're actually measuring something, you shine a light on a subatomic particle or something, right? It's a chance that the photon could impact, right? It could actually alter your measurements. I think we understand, right, how the tool could actually impact that measurement, right? But what I'm talking about, right, what I'm at the fundamental level, we're talking about the EPR paradox and things in the the Copenhagen interpretation. It doesn't really have anything to do with the measurement tools. We're talking about the fundamental nature of reality being probabilistic, right? So outside of any measuring tools, right?
So we're talking about whether it's a wave or a particle, yeah?
No, that's something different. That's something a bit different. So you're talking about you're talking about the wave particle duality of light, right? I'm talking about something even more fundamental in terms of what I'm speaking.
What I'm saying is that, for instance, they're saying in one sense it's consciousness that lets you know the very nature of what will come out from, in other words, how the wave function will collapse, right? That's one side of it. I'm saying the other side is the double slit experiment, where they suggested as to whether this would be a wave or a particle would also depend on how you approach the experiment and what you were expecting. And that's where they said consciousness affects it. And I was saying, this is where we should ask, well, have the devices themselves affected it? So for instance, when they were measuring the position of an electron or the electrons in an atom, and they're jumping from one level to another, when they're measuring this, they're using photons, correct?
Yeah.
And then
certainly, if you know, if the room is lit or whatever you're looking at, yeah, exactly, photons are.
No, what I mean is that they're beaming. So what they did was they got many different measurements together, and that's where the probabilistic potentialities came into place. Yes. So
observer effect.
Oh, he's reading it up. See, Uncle K,
you gotta read up. Look, man,
you're pretending like you know it. Hold on, no. You were pretending like you knew it already. You already dealt with it.
I did. Look, I didn't look up nothing. Come on, man. I didn't beat up Nature Boy on saw letters with all that.
But that's not me, bro. That's not me.
I don't think we're too off kilter here in terms of the conversation, right? We're
come on, bro.
Again, we're talking about levels of theoretical physics that, again, can wrap yourself around the axle very easily, right? In terms of this, especially in these types of conversations, when we're freestyling, right? So,
you know what, brother, I hear you. What it is, Brendan? Let me just tell you the issue that I have. I'm saying the gap between our people and us, let's say, who I'm just interested in how things work, right? I just want to know. It's just something I can do for hours and hours, reading up on science and mechanics, whatever it is. There are a lot of people, it seems the majority of people don't give a damn. And the thing that really, I had this opinion before that we need to try and educate our people, but how are we going to do it? Now, the thing was, Brother Unk, when he came out about the I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but the situation a couple of years ago, right? The lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying, when it comes to the point where our people can literally tell other people, no, you just drink some herbs and you do this, and people are literally passing on because of information over the internet. I'm saying, like, that's serious. We're not just debating between religion and who's right and whose God is right and whether God exists. This becomes something really, really serious. Do you see what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is, can we bridge the gap? Can we try any means to bridge the gap, to get our people thinking in a way outside of this, what I call religious stuff? You know what I mean? It's like, if there's a way of bridging the gap with philosophy, use it. Because sometimes trying to make them jump from where they are over to where you are, it's just not going to work unless you have it in between, unless you say, well, you know what, just jump halfway. And then when they jump halfway, they actually are more attracted to what you were offering in the first place. Do you get what I'm saying, Brother Brendan?
Yeah, I do. And in terms of, like, you use the term bridging the gap, right? And I think our brother Unk, the God Killer, he uses a tool as well when he talks about bridging the gap. And he talks about it in terms of scientific literacy, right? Not philosophy, using scientific literacy as a way to bridge the gap. And I think having these types of conversations, right, can actually go a long way in that. Right. And also, right, pointing people to the experts, right, for this type of conversation. Again, earlier I put in a link to that audio book. Everything that I'm describing right now, everything that we're talking about right now, if anybody's interested, listen to that audio book. It talks about all of this stuff, right, and gives really, really great explanations for lay people who want to sort of dip their toe into these types of conversations. So not saying that I'm an expert at this by no stretch of the imagination, right? Because I can't do the mathematics for any of this stuff, right? But I can listen and kind of understand, right, theoretically and conceptually what some of these physicists are sort of working with, right? And I think that's the interesting part, that anyone from a lay perspective, right, can sort of listen in, right, take a course, right? And sort of understand these things, these fundamental realities of nature, right? So again, right, this is how we're doing. This is how we're bridging the gap, brother.
I hear you, but I don't know. I hear you, but it seems the Hebrews and whoever else. No, it's fair enough. I mean, they don't seem to be seeing that gap. But I mean, for instance, I have a friend. I haven't seen him for years, but we used to. He's a teacher. He's a university lecturer on physics, right? Now, when he was talking, he would get the piece of paper and start writing all the physics symbols, right? And he would explain them and blah blah blah. So when he explained the concepts, I would grasp the concepts because I hadn't learned all the mathematical symbols that he's using. So we would have these conversations, and he would say that, you know, it is still a possibility that consciousness, the fact that we don't know what it is, but that gap there, you could still say it's there. It is consciousness that is in that gap, and it is consciousness that causes the collapse of the wave function. I'm just saying, he's a teacher in physics. So it does seem we're at a level where there are interpretations where we can't just put it out and say, oh no, it can't be consciousness, because physicists who are qualified and teaching at university level are still saying that.
Bring that. When
you
bring
no,
I wasn't. You brought it. I wasn't bringing that.
No.
Wasn't my whole. But I'll be honest. My only thing I wanted to talk about was literally the metaphysics and the space-time model, because it's something I wanted to hear somebody who's on raw. Like if I talk to somebody who's kind of religious, whatever, they might agree. They've got that religious bias and they want to see science and religion merge. But I'm saying people like Brother Unk and yourself, who's just like, no, science is the way. I wanted to see what you will say about it. That's all, man. Big up,
it's great. It's great conversation, man.
Beautiful, bro.
That was
appreciate that, man. I think we didn't wound it down, yo. I think we good. I saved
and that was a great explanation for Space-Time for Brother Anthony. Big ups to him for sort of explaining that in a way we could understand it.
Yeah, you want to close out with something, Anthony? Nope. How about you, Malcolm?
Yeah, man, I've been listening in and soaking in. Brandon, the bad boy, man, on that when it comes to that physics. I like what I heard, and I think that again, I'm pro-education, man. I think we should just take advantage of the education that is afforded us, become the experts, and then we can challenge.
Yep,
you know, become the experts, and then we can add to the body of knowledge. But and I'm not saying that's the case with this brother here, but you know, trying to shortcut the game, and let's just get involved. I mean, we you know, knowledge is at our fingertips, access to the same equipment and tools that these advanced masters of the profession are utilizing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can do that now. I don't have to argue with you about a flat earth. You don't have to argue with me about a flat earth. You can literally go become an astronaut and solve the issue for yourself. Like, you ain't got to do that no more. You can pay $200 and some $1,000, if I'm not mistaken, and jump on a ship with one. I think one of these groups is flying people out if they decide they want to spend that amount of money, and go see if the earth is flat yourself. And like Sosa said, we on Mars now. We on Mars now. Like I always tell my students, man, on one corner, there's a guy right now with a gun in his hands gonna solve this problem. And then on another corner, in another part of the world, there's a room full of people trying to figure out how to get to Jupiter. Where are you? That's all I got.
That's a fact. How about you, Sosa?
So did I miss my turn?
No, we come back to you. Sosa.
Sosa's on mute if he's saying something.
You're on mute. All right, Anthony, you want to close out with something, brother?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. It was a great show, gentlemen. As always, Brendan, you own it. You know, but I just want to say, you know, when you keep it to the science, you know, that's what explains it, or, you know, gives you the tools and the methods to have an understanding. And I just love science because it answers questions. You know, there's no question in science that's too sacred not to be touched. So let's keep it scientific and, you know, apply it to your life. And things might turn out better for you, you know, just because you're gathering information and then making a decision instead of just going out doing. You know, a lot of times that don't work out, at least not for me. But if I put a little thought into it, gather more information about the situation, usually I make a better idea. A better decision. That's all I got. Y'all be good.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you on that, bro. How about you, Brendan?
No, I'd say I think this is a great show, man. Hopefully we didn't you know, go into some topics that sort of bored the audience too much. I hope that we kept it interesting in terms of what we were discussing. Again, Brother Sunline, he asked for that particular audiobook again. I just put that course. A link to that course is in there. It talks about the evidence for modern physics, right? Just simple explanations for these high-level physics phenomenons, right? They explain it in a way that's great for the lay people, right? Go, if you're at all interested, take a look at that as an audiobook. It's a great read. Professor does an outstanding job there. But yeah, I think it was a great show. We had a diverse set of topics, and I enjoyed the conversation when the brother jumped on. Absolutely. A little bit pseudo. I'm putting him in that pseudo box, in that category. And we might have to open, and if he's irregular, we're gonna have to open up a file on him. But
just, brother, I all I did was ask you questions and present others ideas. When I write my book,
you know what? I won't put you in the pseudo box, but I just move you closer to that box. I just move you close to it. I won't put you in there.
Wait.
I'm gonna close some space time by moving you closer to that box.
I already got a file on him. That's why I call him Islam. Yo, he made this whole Islam. He had a whole brand new Islam.
How's that for a space time analogy for you, right? Closer to the pseudo, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Peace to the chat, peace to the mods, right? Pseudo killers on deck for sure.
So yeah, man, I'm gonna end mine with a fun fact or two there, and it was based off of the conversation that we had on Sarnetta's, man, and I can give this out real quick because this ain't gonna be able to get around it. So I talked about James Usher, right? You also have James Usher chronology. These things are part of the whole conversation, right? And so let me see if I can get, hold on. Usher's chronology. Let's see what that is. All right. Hold on. Oh, man. Let me put the Usher, man, right in the damn. So we got James Usher. Hold on, let me show that. Let me give you James Usher's real quick. Real fast. All right, so right here, Bishop Usher. This is James Usher. This is who he's talking about right here. Church of Ireland. Okay. All right. This is what this man looked like. Okay. He was trying to give approximations of what he thought the earth was and how he did it. This right here. Bishop. Okay. Was a Church of Ireland Archbishop. Okay. Let me see. Primate of all Ireland. Hold up. This is in 1625. Right. So now we're getting, remember, I always talk about how, you know, the world was looking at the earth in terms of creation stories. And so we're not in that time period anymore where the majority of nations are looking towards their own personal indigenous creation stories that actually mark time, right? Or when they tribe or clan came into being. But this is smack dab in it, right? Okay. It say he was prolific scholar. and church leader who today is most famous for his identification of the genuine letters of the church father. And hold on, let me see. All right. Move here. Okay. Bishop, hold on. Chronology. Sought to establish the time and date, watch this, of creation. Now imagine that. Imagine trying to establish, right, the date for creationism, okay, with using the biblical text, not using science, but biblical text. Okay, as the entrance of the night proceeded, the 23rd day, look, the 23rd day of October, the year before Christ, 4004 BCE. That is around 6 p.m. On the 22nd of October. So the 22nd of October at 6 p.m., 4004 BCE. Here you go. Julian calendar, there you go, right there. This is the dates they came up with. This is what they was using. They all relied on him. So whenever you hear that 4004 BCE, that's the 6,000 year period. That's what that sister is talking about. It's talking about the 6,000 year period. This comes from him, right? 1625. Okay? From 1625, 1656. All right? In between that. This is the scholarship he came up with, and they used this nonsense right here. But to them, it wasn't nonsense, because this is all of what it was. They wasn't looking at it in terms of evolution. There's no Charles Darwin yet. There's no Al-Jahid yet. There's none of that. The Greeks had a little, they was trying to guess at it, right? All of this. So it's very, very interesting. And I think that's important, right? But we finish them off, I believe, with this right here, right? This is where the rubber always meets the road, right? Where's the counter to this at? The counter to this is here. Research gives a snapshot of the oldest forest in the world, right? We see this. No one's getting around this. Credible website. Okay, look. All right, y'all see the university. All right, okay. Good quality research, right? I'm gonna put this up so y'all can look at this. Not getting around here. Binghamton University. Hold on, let me get this up. So y'all can actually scan it with your phones. Man, ain't coming up. Come on, man. What you doing? All right, well, this ain't showing. I'm gonna drop it in the chat for you, because I think you should have this. And we're gonna see why Usher was wrong. They was all wrong. Okay. And right here, under gray stone of Municipality Highway, Department Quarry, the oldest trees in the world left traces, watch this, of their roots beneath a ridge and forest pool. Look at this. 385 million years ago. I'm gonna say this again, 385 million years ago. And y'all can go ahead and finish reading this and getting all that, but it's right here. So we're not playing this game. We're not doing the 6,000, 12,000. We're not doing that. So you can actually get into the paper, read it, see what they're talking about, and get into it. So that's my source to finish off the whole thing. I'm not sitting here and arguing with you of the age of the damn earth. I'm not debating, not doing none of that. I'm just gonna supply you with a source. You go figure out why that makes so much sense. As opposed to Bishop Usher, 6,000 years ago, 6,000 year timetable for the age of creation. Go ahead, Brendan.
No, I think this is good stuff to have in our arsenal, right? Okay, it's you know, anytime you can actually have a source that you can point to and sort of describe when you're having these conversations, because you never know when somebody in your family may be subject to some of this misinformation and these pseudoisms, right? So you're gonna have to be able to sort of counteract it and fight it on your own terms, right? So yeah, this is all good stuff to have. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have that though. You're absolutely gonna have to have it. You gotta have it. Because at this point in time, it's all over the damn place, man.
Everybody need to start creating their files, right?
Yeah,
we all at this point, we're all gonna need them.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely need it, man, because it's crazy, yo. It's really crazy. Crazy. So yeah, they found it underneath a highway, municipal highway department of quarries, right? I guess they was digging up. They found the oldest trees in the world, okay? Left the trace of their roots. That's 385 million years ago, man. All right. And you know, you got a doctoral candidate that actually did it. That's Kudad. Brigham Hamilton University, doctoral candidate, biological science, reconstructed the primordial world in the recent paper. All right, let's get the paper. This is the paper. This is what we always do. It's in PLOS. This is my favorite site right here. All right, let me do this. Accept the cookies. And so, you know, we don't just read the daggone thing. We go right to the thing, right? This is how we do this, how we rock out. We do this. Here you go. PLOS. Here you go. The middle, look, deviant rental pool. All right, hold on, let me get this out. Dang, why do my things like that? Ecosystem provides a snapshot of the earliest forest. Here you go. So this is how we do the science around here, right? At this point, the sister probably won't come on no more. She'll probably just fade off into the atmosphere. She won't come on. Because you're not going to get past this. And it's a great article. PLOS One is a great site to go to. I always talk about it. You got your abstract. You can read the whole abstract. They show you how they did it, where they found it at. We can go down to the sources of the paper, the dating let's see, we can go to the dating methods they use. Let me see. Let's see what methods they use in here real quick. They got everything you need. You're not getting around this with your Bible. You're undermanned. You don't have you're running around with a handful of grass throwing it at somebody with a thermonuclear weapon at this point. You're not gonna do it. It's not happening. You're not gonna sit up here and beat this up, right? Talk about the date night, man. Shut up. You're not doing all this. Yeah, they got about at least, let's see, 40, 50 sources to this paper, 41 sources to this paper, right? And I like to go in and read all the sources. That's what you can conclusion, right? I ain't gonna read the damn conclusion, but here's a conclusion. Ain't doing all that, right? But yeah, that's New York State Park. So y'all can go in there and think it ain't real. It's going down.
Pop that link. Yeah, pop that link in the
yeah, let's see if I can pop
in the YouTube.
It's going down.
Yeah.
And see right here, you got the abstract, the introduction, the study site and methods. That's what you really want, the results. You got the conclusion. Remember how I told you we did this is good for us. Reading this damn abstract and reading the goddamn conclusion. Y'all start getting into all this, man. Then you can
study methods and how they did the science. Yeah, exactly. All of the list of figures. Yeah, you're gonna have a headache.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna have a headache. You're not gonna be able to go to work the next day. You're gonna like, what was I doing? Yeah. Yeah. They give you the actual sites. They get the whole thing. So yeah, man, this is great. Let me put this up here for y'all. Let me see. Let me see if I can drop this in the chat for y'all. Put this in y'all pseudo killer folder, man. Yeah, that's how we do it. We do it big around here. We don't have step. So this is what you're up against when you dive on the show. You're up against this right here. We don't want to hear all that. We're not listening to all that. We're not doing it. Yeah, we ain't even gonna argue and scream. We're gonna say source up or shut up. Right? Yeah, that's how we're doing it.
Right. You got to deal with them rocks. Deal with that zircon.
You deal with that zircon.
Deal with that. You can actually get that. You can actually buy rings and jewelry made of that kind of stuff, right? It's very, very brilliant, a piece of material. But yeah, it's how we know the age of the earth.
That's exactly how we know the age of the earth. Yeah, so we ain't playing this. And then I promised you that I was going to show you this real quick. I did say I was going to do that. where we can talk, because we talked about the date, and I want to give y'all something to read. Right here you go, The Magic of Reality, Dawkins. Right here, y'all see it. This is exactly everything I said verbatim, right? And I think the Dawkins Magic of Reality, let's see what the chapter is that I spoke of. Okay, here we go. What is reality? What is magic? Who was the first person? This is a great one, right? Great one. But who was the first person? Actually, there was no such thing as the first person. I'll let y'all in on it. Why are there so many different kinds of animals? Okay, what are things made of? Let me see. Why do we have night and day and winter? Hold on. What is the sun? What is the rainbow? Yeah. Oh man, began along. Why? So I think the chapter with the date would be some. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. What is reality? What is that? It might be in that chapter. Or this one. Somewhere in there, because they for a minute they talk about. Let me see. Real quick. Oh man, let me see. Now I'm gonna get back on this, but yeah, that's definitely talking about the Hebrew tribes. See, the Hebrew tribes of the Middle East had only a single god, whom they regard as superior to the gods of rival tribes. That's why that whole thing they took that from the Egyptians is a little bit nonsense, because the whole book is actually treaties against that. Anyway, that's a good book. Y'all probably get $5. Right? And that first 2 chapters is going to talk about the date and how they date the earth. It's easy the way he put that together. But yeah, yep. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We had a nice group in here, man. We shout y'all out real quick. Let me see where I'm at. We had in this chat right here, man.
Yeah, to all those who stuck in there with us.
Sunline 55. Yeah. Cedric, pseudo killer.
What's up, Ced?
What about phone?
Said you did a great job last night as
Great,
well.
great. He did.
He had the gas. He was all gas, no brakes last night on.
Yes. Shout out to Tiffany,
as usual.
Moderator. Shout out James Midas. We got that right. Shout out to you. All right. Posturius. Shout out to you. Graybeard. I see you. All right. Mr. Metro, yeah, appreciate you coming through, man. And of course, Black Telek. Why did he say that? Telek.
Huck, I'm still in the car with you, bro. I'm still in the car.
Heard Travis.
Airplane
Trevor.
James.
Yeah, where Airplane James at? Yeah, we're gonna get that.
Man. James been cutting up lately. He's all over the YouTube streets cutting up. So, peace to that brother.
Yeah, peace to everybody. Yeah, man.
Mysterious. Shout out to the Discord community. Let's get the Discord link in there for those who aren't a member of the Discord. See if I can put another invite out here. You guys join that Discord.
Yeah, we always have classes. We have classes before the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty good. Those guys get a really good sort of a preview of a lot of the topics and the content that we'll do on the subsequent shows. I thought we were gonna jump into Dr. Samarka Kita's work today, but I see we're gonna hold it for another day.
Yeah, we're gonna hold it for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, join that Discord, man. Hit the Discord link, man. That's a good vibing community over there. So.
Oh yeah, we got about 300-400 people in there, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I suggest everybody jump in there, man. Yeah, but that's how we do, man. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. Appreciate the show, man. Excellent show, man. Make sure you subscribe to the Real Black Atheist. Of course, like and subscribe to the Pseudo Killers, man. Go to the Abs US store. I'm sure the mods will put it in there. House of Consciousness. Subscribe to the House of Consciousness. Now, hopefully, I'll be up and running on Sarnetta University. I think that's the name of it. Right? Up and running. We can come over there and catch. I think it's about 13, 15,000 subscribers over there. Might be able to go over there and actually start that up and do our pseudo killer show over there to bring some science and just bring some real balance to the Starting at a House of Consciousness, man. I think that's imperative, and I appreciate the brother for giving us that ability to do that, and that just shows where his heart is, and it's important, man. So yeah, with that, man, pseudo killers, man, we out, man. Appreciate everybody that came through, yo. We be back, y'all know what it is, man. Peace, man. Y'all check out the football game, do all that, man. Pseudo killers.